flavor and value. It's Bo time.
To some, a baby's babbling doesn't mean much, but it does. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Life doesn't wait, and neither should you. Aleve can help you deal with pain less throughout your day. Whether it's a long day on your feet, a demanding workout, or everyday aches and pains, you need relief that can keep up when pain persists. Aleve is here for you with longer-lasting body pain relief compared to leading OTC-branded pain relievers. With just one pill, Aleve lasts up to 12 hours. Don't let those aches hold you back from doing what's important to you. Use as directed.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at richielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Weather. I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Sunny skies out there this afternoon as a lot of people in our western counties clean up for some major flooding last night and yesterday. 92, our high this afternoon, a few isolated thunderstorms, and we're looking at heat index up to 99 today. 75 overnight tonight, and tomorrow, partly cloudy, hot and humid, a high of 96, but feeling more like 105 with the heat index.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb and Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones down 489 points to 44,338.
Gets the shot through, they score! He put some stank on it. Logan Stankoven's first goal in his first game. Stankoven with a drive, he scores! Martin comes up with a loose puck. He feeds the rookie and Logan Stankoven's first goal in the playoffs for the Canes. And it's Stankoven, he scores! A power play goal for Logan Stankoven. His second of the period puts the Canes up 3-0.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. I'm back. I'm recharged. I was at the beach all last week. And I'm ready to dive into everything I missed. Tim Donnelly here. Dennis Cox producing the show. Today is a very special day. Not only am I back, it's special, but I wouldn't do a full intro like that. Oh, yeah? It's special because Win Your Weight in Meat is back.
Let's go!
Starting right now, 3 p.m. today, so just a minute and a half ago, you can text the keyword BEEF, B-E-E-F, to 919-860-5326 for your chance at becoming a finalist. Every weekday around 4 p.m., we will call one lucky texter, somebody that sends in that keyword BEEF to 919-860-5326. We'll call a lucky texter on air, live on air. And all you have to do is tell us your weight, and you are in the running. Then on Monday, July 21st, so looking about 2 weeks from now, one of our 10 finalists will be randomly selected to win their weight in meat. All brought to you by the NC Beef Council. Beef, it's what's for dinner. So that phone line is open as of right now. Just go ahead and text in. We're looking for text, not calls. Text the keyword BEEF to 919-860-5326. See, I'm back in the host studio, and we're already giving away your weight in meat. I don't know what that says about me, but hey, it happened. Let's jump into the big 3 at 3. You know what's pretty cool?
Number 1.
Take a week off, come back to a completely new Carolina Hurricanes. Nikolaj Ehlers. Ready for this? I'm going to word this specifically. Chose to sign with the Carolina Hurricanes. Chose is the key word there. Had options. One of the big fish, if not the big fish, that actually made it to market in this year's free agency period, chose to come to the Carolina Hurricanes. That is important, and it's really good for the Canes. right? He's a good player, does a lot of the things that the Canes value, and he thinks, as he's about to explain here during his media availability, the Hurricanes are the right fit for him.
A lot of things. I'm very excited about the project. I'm very excited about the team in Carolina. They've been a tough team to play against in the past, and I like all the young players that are there, and the interest that Carolina has shown was something that obviously helped a lot with the decision making. So it made me very excited.
6 years, $51 million for Nikolaj Ehlers. That's about a $8.5 million annual value. It's big money. It's one of the bigger deals of this free agency period. But what you are getting is dependability. You are getting, I have it right here. Hold on. Shout out to Walt Ruff, by the way, team reporter for the Canes. Ehlers has been in the NHL for 10 seasons. He has scored more than 20 goals in 8 of them. The only 2 seasons in which he did not reach 20 goals, his rookie season, which he scored 15, and the 2022-2023 season in which he missed 37 games due to injury. If he plays a full season and he's not a rookie, or even close to a full season, and he's not a rookie, he's giving you 20 goals minimum. That's good floor. He's been basically a 25-goal per season player with 60-point ability. You'd like to think that ceiling will go up a little bit, but that's consistency, and that's nice. It's another player you can depend on to find the back of the net when the opportunity is available. We're going to talk about that signing a lot today, and it happened on Thursday, kind of right before the holiday. Some of you were probably out already grilling, setting up your fireworks, perhaps tuning in right now going, wait a second.
Yeah, 2:59 p.m. just before we went on air.
Thought that was a joke. Thought that was a 4th of July Fools. No, it actually happened. Nikolaj Ehlers is a Cane. Big 3 at 3. Let's get to number 2.
Number 2.
Phil Steele put out his college football preseason magazine. Now I'm just going to do like 2 seconds here of what that means to a certain college football fan, meaning like a generation. Pre-internet / early internet, every single college football media outlet did not do the full in-depth college football preview. Phil Steele and that magazine, that glossy cover, big, way more pages than a traditional like delivered to your house magazine, was where you went to get a breakdown on every team in college football. I used to go to the grocery store, buy it the day it came out, read that thing cover to cover, feel like I was an expert. So shout out to Phil Steele. He put out his all-ACC team. I have the list of the teams in the Triangle in Wake Forest, the teams in North Carolina that have made the ACC preseason all-conference teams. 2 things surprised me. One, NC State they do one first, second, third, fourth team, so it's deep. NC State has the most selections of the teams in North Carolina. 7, 4 offense, 3 defense, made either the first, second, third, or fourth team. Duke next with 6. Ready for this? Wake next with 4. UNC and Bill Belichick bringing up the rear with just 3 selections. And one of them, a 4th-team running back in Davion Goss, who really hasn't proven himself. There's a lot of potential that they're banking on there. So that hierarchy surprised me quite a bit. And again, if you want to dive into the nuts and bolts of it, we'll do that throughout the show. You probably want to be here for the Dean's List coming up in about 23 minutes. Little tease here in the radio world. That's number 2 on the Big 3 at 3. Let's round it out with number 3.
Number 3.
We're after July 4th. This used to be a big week for me. I used to, and I can't even pretend like I make myself do it now. I used to do everything I could to like not think fantasy football, not think any of that until after July 4th. Now it's a year-round thing. Not gonna fight it. But I do think there are, in real football world, if the Panthers, Carolina Panthers, want to go all out and chase the playoffs at all costs, like I've seen some fans imploring them to do this season, there are a few more moves still available this summer. There are a few free agents out there that could help them go all out and make that push and try to win the division and try to grab a wild card. I have 3 names, and we'll go over them throughout the show, but the 3 names are all at positions of need, and they are all under 30 years old. Asante Samuel Jr., cornerback, 25 years old, is coming off an injury-plagued season. You're always looking for a reason why a player is not kind of claimed at this point in time. I believe Samuel is trying to show everybody that he is completely back and healthy before he signs because he probably thinks it's going to help his money. There's Julian Blackmon, a safety for the Colts last year, 27 years old. What I like about him, he can play center field. It's the one thing that I think, it's barring injury, the Panthers secondary is lacking, right? Michael Jackson at one corner, maybe a little underwhelming, but I'm okay with it. I think, if everybody stays healthy, which is a fool's dream in the NFL, but if everybody stays healthy, the one thing I think they're lacking is a true center field safety. At 27 years old, Blackmon can do that. And Marcus Williams, for similar reasons, safety from the Ravens, he's been injured a bunch the last few years. But when healthy, you're looking at 20-plus interceptions in his career guy, and he's not quite, even knocking on the door at 30. He's got a couple more seasons before turning 30. That is quintessential. If you're looking at ways the Panthers can improve on defense, the number one way, I believe, forcing turnovers. They have to get their hands on the ball more. Have to. And if Marcus Williams, when healthy, has that knack for getting his hands on the ball, I think that's a risk you take. Then there's a bunch of guys 30 and over. I mean, if you were all in, if it was Super Bowl or bust this year, there's a few other names you might throw out there, or if they're reasonably priced, right? If you hit training camp, or if you get closer to training camp, they're still on the market and they start getting nervous, and their agent maybe starts to hint that they'd take less than maybe you'd expect, then they become options. But those 3 names specifically, as we come back after the July 4th long weekend, I think those 3 specifically should be monitored aggressively by the Carolina Panthers. That is the Big 3 at 3 here on The Drive on 99.9 The Fan. Kane's free agency, it's not over. There's still moves that could be made, but you would expect the big dominoes to have fallen. My reactions, one thing I love and one thing I hate, because it's really 2 sides of the same coin with this free agency class. I'll give you both of them next.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Granger. Granger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, Greater Triangle area, Chick-fil-A wants to invite you to enjoy 3-count Chick-fil-A chicken strips on us in the Chick-fil-A app. Join us this week, July 7th through 12th, 2025, to get your reward for a 3-count Chick-fil-A chicken strips by downloading or signing into your Chick-fil-A app with location services on in the Greater Triangle area. Redeem when you order through the Chick-fil-A app at a participating Greater Triangle area Chick-fil-A restaurant from 10:30 a.m. to close. Offer subject to availability, rewards are single-use only. Limit 1 per person per Chick-fil-A 1 account. See further details in the app.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eloquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eloquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eloquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eloquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eloquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eloquis.com or call 1-855-ELOQUIS.
Sanheim, taken away by Miller. Keandre Miller breaks in, he's tripped, goes to the net, and scores! What a goal!
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Canes, the Carolina Hurricanes, some of the biggest newsmakers of this offseason, which I think we can all respect. If you were, and don't go back on it now, because I've heard directly from the horse's mouth from many of you, or from the horse's Twitter account from a lot of you, if you were somebody that was clamoring for the Canes to make a big move, to start putting some chips in the middle, stop stockpiling and start cashing in, don't go back on it now, right? Don't get cold feet now, because they're doing it and you got to respect that. There is one thing I absolutely love about the Canes offseason thus far, and there is one thing that I hate about the Canes offseason thus far. Then there's a lot kind of neutral, but there's one on either end of the spectrum. Let's start with the love, shall we? The love for me is Eric Tulsky, Rod Brindamore, front office, whoever that round table of decision makers is for the Carolina Hurricanes. They continue to bet on themselves and their evaluations. Right? It's very similar to one of the reasons I love Rod Brindamore as a coach the most, is because he doesn't care about the public opinion, right? He's not running polls and making decisions. He doesn't care if it's unpopular. He is always making what he thinks is best for his team. And I think the front office is showing that. The two biggest contracts this week, or last week, Keandre Miller, Nikolaj Ehlers, both with Carolina. Miller, to me, is a great example of them standing on their evaluation. Because they're like, and I know many of you, a lot of Rangers fans, have hinted that maybe it was an overpay, or maybe the contract was too much, or maybe, Miller can't do this or doesn't do that. And there are some legitimate reasons there, right? I think some of you are going a little far. But there are some things that he hasn't done well enough, particularly the last 2 years, since he had kind of a breakout age 23 season, that leave a little to be desired. But what the Canes are doing is betting on their own evaluation, which is, listed at 6'5", 210. Big body dude, good skater. Maybe not the most sound assignment defender in the league. Maybe gets lost occasionally. But the Canes are betting on their ability to get the most out of him in ways the Rangers couldn't or didn't over the last 2 seasons. Betting on him being in the room with some defensemen that are unbelievable at prioritizing, always being in the right spot and always covering for your partner and doing those sorts of things. It's very easy to think like everybody else. It's more difficult to find somebody who has flaws and go, no, those flaws don't matter. We can fix them. Our coaches will work with them. Our culture will raise them. Once he sees how we do things and how our system is, they won't matter. To the point where it made sense to give him, $7.5 million average annual value. He did have a 43-point season a couple seasons ago. So if they get the assignment defense buttoned up, if they fix the holes in his game, there is very, very big potential there. And he is a more physical player than you'd think as well, based on what – I'm not saying he's, Mike Tyson out there, but based on what the Rangers are saying about him, meaning Rangers fans, you'd think he didn't wear hockey gloves. He wore pillow mitts. Like he can throw some weight around. So I love that we kind of talked about this with Sam Bennett, although we knew he was never going to hit the market. Like, the dude just had, a 15-goal postseason? Nobody is looking at him and going like, I think if we get him, we can turn him into a good postseason goal scorer. It's like, no, everybody knows. Miller, there is a bit of, no, we think once we get our hands on him, we can turn him into something. We can turn him into something really good. There's big potential there, and I like the bet. Now, what did I hate? I hate they haven't yet added a second-line center in what I've dubbed the summer of getting a center. Now, granted, it's not easy, right? It's not, you don't go to the grocery store and ask somebody what aisle are the top 6 forwards in, and then you go to you look for the little flag coming off that says centers here. It's all right, cool. Let me go grab one. It's not that easy. And they still have some opportunities. We'll talk about it. But a lot of my evaluation for Ehlers is like, I love Ehlers. I think he's a really good addition. If you also get a second-line center. And by the way, even more flashy, if they would have signed Mitch Marner, right, more flashy, big ticket, I would have gone, all right, now you still got to get a second-line center. All right, now you got to get a second-line center. Frank Saravalli was on Sportsnet 510 The Fan, and I'll just read a quote here. You've got a lot of pieces that you go out and chase because they perfectly fit with Rod Brind'Amour. But at some point, when you add someone like Ehlers, is it too much of the same thing? I disagree with that as long as you get the second line. Like, I want as many good wingers that fit the system as possible, as long as you also get the second line centers.
I'll disagree slightly with Frank, but go on.
Well, go ahead.
Here's the thing about Nikolaj Ehlers, I think, is actually a little bit different than what the Canes have, in the sense that the Canes are known for, especially with their forwards, of like chip the puck in, go after it fast, dig it out in the corner type deal. Whereas Nikolaj Ehlers has the speed to carry the puck into the zone and actually possess the puck in a different way than what the Carolina Hurricanes other forwards are used to doing. Like Blake, Stankoven, some of the, like Martin Nook, all these guys play a very similar type game. Ehlers is a little bit different. So if anything, he brings a little bit of a different skill set than what pretty much they currently have on the roster. So I'll push back slightly on that. But if you want to just blanket, hey, guy that fits the system, a little bit undersized, okay, then I see what you're saying. But his skill set's a little bit different than what the Carolina Hurricanes currently have.
I agree with everything you just said. And the way I see them similar is production, right? Like a upper 20s, maybe 30 goal scorer, 60 points, right? Like that to me, you know, I think a lot of Canes fans want the 40 goal scorer. And that's not Ehlers. At least he hasn't shown that ability yet. And they might be betting on themselves that it's in there somewhere when playing with, you know, super unselfish other forwards, whatever it is. But it still comes back to, let's say he scores 34 goals, right? Let's say he gets 65 points. Let's say he hits his ceiling. If every time your second line is out there, you have Kokaniemi of last year, there's going to still be that giant anchor or parachute, right, when you're running, kind of holding you back. Now, I will say, I've seen some Canes fans already doing the mental gymnastics of how awesome would it be if Kokaniemi scores 60 points, or, you know, if Rod hasn't given up on him yet, then neither have I. Like, you're already talking yourself into that a little bit. I dubbed it the summer of getting a center for a reason, right? Because it's now been multiple seasons of you start getting to the games that matter, the end of the regular season, fighting for seeding, the postseason, and it seems like it's hot potato with that job. Now, a few things. One, they still have $10-something million in cap space, and you can still buy at the deadline, right? Because we've seen them the last 2 years make massive moves at the deadline for wingers, with Ehlers being signed and with the guys they have locked up and with Stankoven locking up in the long-term deal. You would probably argue they don't need the winger help as much. So maybe this is the deadline where you look at a team that thought they were going to compete, but now they realize they're not, and they might be selling a rental, or they might be selling somebody trying to build for the future, and you get your center there. If that happens, I will gladly go back and say, hey, that thing I hated on July 7th turned out to be nothing. They saw the field perfectly. They saw the market perfectly, and Eric Tulsky stuck to his guns and made it happen. I will gladly say that. But as it stands right now, if the roster is as it is now when they start the postseason, I'm going to go, you know, it feels like the same Achilles heel that they've been dealing with might be what they're dealing with again this year.
The biggest thing about that center market, it was slim pickings.
Very
like,
much,
that's the thing.
very,
It's
very
like,
much so.
You want to go Mikhail Granlund, who's 34 years old, who's also 5'10", 185. Like, okay, fine, roll with that. But he got $7 million a year to go to Anaheim. Carolina wasn't going to pay $7 million a year for him. But no team in the NHL has traded for a top two center this whole offseason. So no one's done it yet.
I completely agree. And with the cap going up, it did feel, you know, I've compared centers to pickup trucks, right? Nobody gets rid of a pickup truck. You might buy a different car, but you're not trading in the pickup, because what if you have to haul something, right? What if I have to move? I need that for the mattress. That's kind of how everyone's treating centers. And on top of that, with the cap going up so rapidly the next 2 years, kind of everyone had the money to keep their centers that they had, that if the cap was stagnant, I do think this market would have been better, but there were a lot of re-signs. Again, I ain't saying it's easy, but if it were easy, everybody would do it, right? If it were easy to put together a 100% complete roster, Buffalo wouldn't be going on a 14-year postseason drought, right? Everybody would do it. It seemed like this year they had the resources. Now, if absolutely nothing became available, they pivoted, did what's best, the best that they could, and they enter into the regular season with the cap space kind of stockpiled and prepared to make a move if and or when a team that has a center realizes, oh, we thought we were going to compete this year. Turns out we're not. Maybe we should cash in XYZ center. Carolina's there knocking on the door. Hey, we'll take them. We got picks. We got prospects. We got money. What are we looking at here? We'll take on guys. We'll take on cap hits. Like, what are we looking at? If that happens, again, I'll be the most happy person in the world to say July 7th, I was the Chicken Little running around saying the sky is falling, and it turns out the sky was going to be just fine.
So Eric Tolsky did say at the NHL draft, like during his availability after the first round of the draft, that every team out there is looking for players in return.
Yep.
If I'm going to give up a player, I better get players in return. My guess is if you're trying to get a top 2 center, the asking price is extremely high. And it ain't going to be cheap to go get one.
And that's why we did float this. We floated the Svetch move because there was a lot of, hey, if you're going to get a top 6, you probably got to give up a top 6.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Svetch was kind of that dude. If you're still in love with Svetch, if you still love what he brings both on and off the ice to your team, I think it becomes very, very difficult for the team to acquire that center that we're all dreaming of.
It's going to take more than just Kotkaniemi and 2 first-round picks to go get a top 2 center, folks. Let's just. If you had a top 2 center on your team, would you take 2 first-round picks that might not play for you for 5 years and Kotkaniemi? Would you give that up? No, you wouldn't.
Especially knowing that those 2 first-round picks are coming from Dallas, who just added Mikko Rantanen and kept more than I thought they would on their roster this year, or Carolina with a second-line center that you just gave them.
Yeah.
Like, then you're, what do you want? Picks at best like 28 and 30?
I mean, Carolina's
maybe not
pick
at
this
best.
year, the first-round pick they traded it was pick 29.
Yeah.
It's like, again, those guys aren't going to show up on your roster for another 4 years. Bradley Nadeau was the 30th overall pick, and he's only played, 2 games in the NHL at the end of the regular season? Like, come on, folks. It's going to take more than just first-round picks. It's not football.
It is, and it's not basketball for sure.
Yeah.
Last point I'll make, and it goes into what you're saying, because I've gotten a lot of these. The trade calculators online, they're in a vacuum, okay? They are not dealing with the market as it is. They've put an arbitrary value, not arbitrary, but a value on first-round picks and on players. What they haven't added in is there might only be one on the market. Right, and if you're the only game in town, or there might be none on the market, and you have to Godfather offer to get the team to even consider moving on from a player, then it's not that in a vacuum trade calculator. Because just because you can get the trade calculator to say that's a fair trade, that doesn't mean the team is going to go, I accept all fair trades. If you make me a fair trade, I have to accept. They might look at you and go, no, you got to overpay by 2.5 times because I know how little there is of what I have to offer out there. And if you don't do that, then I'm walking.
I'll say this for the folks to keep this in mind. When Matthew Tkachuk of the Florida Panthers got traded from Calgary to Florida, the Florida Panthers gave up Jonathan Huberdeau, who just scored 115 points for the Florida Panthers, and Mackenzie Weegar, who is a top 4 defenseman and a prospect and a first-round pick to get Matthew Tkachuk, who's a winger. And that was just a few years ago.
Do you know what? And I keep saying this is the last thing I'm going to say. I'm just excited because they added a lot of value, I believe. I think Eric Tolsky has that crazy gene, positively, right? Because you got to be a little wild to pull the trigger on a move like that, right? And actually, I think the league respects, and again, positively respects Eric Tolsky's crazy. I'm sure you read the rumors or the reports that Evan Bouchard, his re-signing was accelerated because of the threat of a Carolina offer sheet.
Yeah, Evan Bouchard of the Edmonton Oilers.
Like the league is looking around and going, Eric Tolsky's liable to do anything.
Oh yeah.
So let's make sure we get our P's and Q's dotted and crossed and everything else. And that's the wrong letters there. But let's make sure we have our side buttoned up and don't leave him even a cracked window to force his way through. I think that's a really exciting deal for the Carolina Hurricanes to have a GM willing to do that because, as you just mentioned, I mean, even knowing how Tkachuk has worked out for the Florida Panthers, which is gangbusters, that still sounds like, goodness gracious, that's a lot to give up for a player. But you got to stick to your guns and make the move. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending. I was out of town this weekend, which means I'm on all the real estate apps looking at, hey, this house we're renting, how much would this one be worth? Oh, look at that one. I wonder how much that is worth because I'm a real estate nerd. And then you immediately go to, well, what would the monthly payment be? Let's see, right? If I were to strike the lottery, could I afford it? And you know what? Those interest rates, they always sneak up on you in that situation, right? You see the price, you're like, what would Well, here's the deal. If rates are a little higher than you want, or a little higher than you were hoping, and you need a mortgage because you have to relocate for a job, family deal, upsize, downsize, you want the pool you've always wanted, call Miller Lending. And here's why. They offer something called the no-cost loan. That means the loan comes with no closing costs, no fees, no third-party fees, no extra surcharges at closing. Zero means zero at Miller Lending, and the same is true each and every time you refinance if rates drop. So, right, you look at the calculators on the real estate apps and you go, here's how much it costs, here's how much I could put down, oh, there's my monthly payment. Now, for most mortgage lenders, mortgage brokers, that's your 30-year mortgage, right? That's the payment you make every month for the next 30 years. For Miller Lending, it's not your 30-year payment, it's just your next month's payment. Because if rates drop, refinance, no cost, no fees, no money out of your pocket, lower that monthly payment, right? There's no guarantee. Matter of fact, in our country, the average time that you hold a mortgage before moving, selling, paying it off, refinancing, whatever, 4 years. So don't think of it as the next 30 years. Think of it as the moment rates drop, I'll refinance, no cost, no fees out of my pocket. Give them a call to learn more. It's Miller Lending at 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377. Or visit them online at millerlending.com. It's that easy to remember, millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 250-2146. When we return, Keandre Miller, a Carolina Hurricane, a defenseman. Do you like it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Next.
When it comes to restoring cars, Diego's got skills. And with Total Wireless in his corner, the whole world sees them. With the dual camera system on his new iPhone 13, he can take amazing car photos and post them on the fly with super fast 5G, and even turn this hobby into a full-time gig. His claim to fame? Claiming iPhone 13 with 5G on us. Get iPhone 13 with 5G on us when you switch to the Total 5G or 5G Plus Unlimited 3-month plan. Total Wireless, in your corner. For limited time while supplies last. Valid in store. Device taxes and fees may apply. Requires port in and ID verification. Restrictions apply.
Is your heating and air system handling the hot weather okay? Call Newcomb & Company to ensure your system is running at peak performance. As a Comfort Contract customer, you'll get priority service and a 15% discount on all HVAC and plumbing service calls and repairs. Newcomb & Company, your independent trained dealer, has proudly served our community for more than 70 years, delivering reliable comfort and peace of mind. Call 919-862-3000 or visit newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company, your comfort is our business.
O'Reilly. Check engine, ABS, or maintenance light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. The service is free and provides a report with solutions verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we could recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. With Progressive, you can reach customer service in the way that's easiest for you, by phone, app, or online. We know it would be great if we just magically appeared, but that's more of a genie thing, and we do insurance. But with us, you'd be like, well, it wasn't a genie, but it was great customer service, so that's nice. And sure, you probably would still like the whole 3 wishes thing, so if you meet a genie, you should definitely ask. But when you need us, contact Progressive by phone, app, or online. Just no genies. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Fill your tank. Don't drain your wallet. Sam's Club lets you save time at the pump with Scan and Go checkout at Sam's Club fuel stations. Just scan the QR code on the pump and pay. Visit your local Sam's Club today.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. So I'm a little out of practice, right? Took a week off. I don't do that often. So, of course, I teased the wrong segment going into break. Skipped over the Dean's List. So we will talk about the Miller trade, the Keandre Miller trade. It's just next segment, so I apologize to those of you that were craving more Canes trade talk. We will get there, I promise. I'm sorry? How about I tell you how you can win your weight in meat?
Oh, let's go.
Win Your Weight in Meat is back here on 99.9 The Fan. Starting earlier today at 3 o'clock, you've had the ability to text the keyword BEEF, B-E-E-F, to 919-860-5326 for your shot at becoming a finalist to win your weight in meat. And that's still open, by the way. Text BEEF right now to 919-860-5326. And then every weekday, including today, so less than a half hour, every weekday for the next 2 weeks, around 4 p.m., we will call one lucky texter live on air. And all you have to do is tell us your weight. We won't judge. Just tell us your weight because it's win your weight in meat, so that's kind of important. And once you do that, you're in the running. You'll be one of our 10 finalists. On Monday, July 21st, one of those 10 finalists will be randomly selected to win their weight in meat. Brought to you by the NC Beef Council. Beef. It's what's for dinner. All right, we cool now? We're even? Let's jump into the Dean's List. This is where we highlight those that deserve a few extra accolades in the college sports world. Starting with, and we'll touch on this throughout the week because it's a big part of sports. Chandler Rivers, Duke cornerback. This was brought to my attention today. College Football 26, the video game, was released, the ratings and everything. Mm-hmm. Chandler Rivers, the Duke cornerback, is the 14th highest rated player in the game. Not 14th highest rated corner, not 14th highest rated ACs, 14th highest overall player in the game, Duke.
Game releases this week, by the way.
I cannot emphasize this enough. You could be a preseason All-American. You could be the returning ACC first-team All-Conference player. You could be so much. I don't know if there is a bigger bragging rights thing than walking into the locker room saying, yeah, I'm the highest ranked player in the game. Not only am I in the game, I'm the highest ranked player in the game in our entire locker room and 14th best in the country. So shout out to Chandler Rivers. Speaking of accolades in the college football world, Phil Steele, as I mentioned, put out his All-ACC, the legendary Phil Steele All-Conference team. He put out a first, second, third, and fourth All-ACC team. The Dean's Listers have to be only the first teamers, though. First team, Phil Steele, preseason All-ACC. Tight end, Justin Jolie, NC State. Linebacker, first team, Sean Brown, NC State. Offensive tackle, first teamer, Brian Parker from Duke. The aforementioned cornerback, Chandler Rivers, he's there as well, so he's had a good couple of days as far as learning things about how others feel about him. And his secondary mate, safety Terry Moore from Duke, also a first teamer. So shout out to those 5 individuals. None from Wake, none from UNC, or they would have been Dean's Listers as well. Dennis, do you have someone you'd like to throw into the Dean's List?
I'm going to throw Penn State hockey on the Dean's List.
All right.
Looks like they're going to get Gavin McKenna, number 1 overall pick projected in 2026 in the NHL draft. Looks like he's going to commit to Penn State hockey for this upcoming season.
I've said this a few times, right? Part of the reason why the NHL draft is I depend on others so much for reactions and things is because it's hard to watch every college hockey, every juniors game, every KHL game, every game all across the OHL, the WHL, the U.S. National Development Team. Like, it's tough. But I will say, McKenna's expected commitment to Penn State did make it multiple times onto my timeline. So that shows how big of a deal it is.
It's a massive deal.
That he's heading there. What's the expectation for an expected number 1 overall pick in college? Is it like a 1.5 a game? Like, is it that kind of craziness?
You're playing, let's say, 40, 45 games. Don't be surprised if he has like 70 points.
Yeah. So, yeah, around
dude is
there.
Insanely good.
Imagine being on his line.
Yeah, right? For real.
It's like, all right, I guess I'm going to be set up quite nicely here. There was a Michigan team, like 2020, 2019, something like that just had $1 billion future first-round picks and $1 billion future NHL guys. And I went down a rabbit hole of looking at it the other day and just say, college hockey, when you get a bunch of NHL guys, you can have a lot of fun. Last one, and I didn't get to talk about this. I'm sure you mentioned it a little bit last week. But I want to, Steve Newmark. North Carolina, UNC, announced last Tuesday that it had hired Steve Newmark, who was the Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing president, as the successor to athletic director Bubba Cunningham. Newmark will serve as executive associate athletic director starting next month, focusing on bringing in the Bucks revenue for football and men's and women's basketball, and then eventually in the summer of 2026 we'll move over to athletic director. Then there will be a transition period where Bubba Cunningham, who's long time AD for UNC, he'll be a advisor, and then it'll move on from there. But that's, I mean, when you enter into like, I'm going to be in sports administration and be a sports executive, running the Tar Heels sounds like that's one of those pipe dreams, right? I always talk about, it's actually a Belichick thing, ironically. Reportedly, he did this with Charlie Weiss, Belichick. I assume he did it with most of his coordinators, where he hires the coordinator and he just says, listen, I understand that coordinator's probably not your end game. Give me the jobs that are your dream jobs. And if they come open, I'll help you get them. But I ask that you don't settle for, like, if you say Penn State, Michigan, another NFL head coaching job, like, those are my dream jobs. Don't leave for Bowling Green head coach, right? Like, he kind of says, let's put our dream jobs on the table, and then we'll be up front with everybody. I would assume if you're in sports administration, director of athletics, Tar Heels, probably on most teams' dream jobs. So shout out to Steve Newmark, and look forward to chatting with you soon. There you go. That's the Dean's List. Let's dismiss it. I teased it earlier because I was so excited to do it. Keandre Miller traded to the Canes. Do you like it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Are you mild on it? We'll discuss coming up in a few minutes. But first, Dennis Cox has something he'd like to tell you.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. The weather recently, let's be honest, it's kind of sucked. Super hot, rainy. You never know. It's unpredictable weather at times, which means the motorcycle's been parked, and I really have been very disappointed that I have not been able to hop on the motorcycle in recent weeks. But, one thing that I have to make sure when I get back on the motorcycle for my next ride is take a little test ride in my neighborhood in a safe, controlled area just to make sure that everything is properly working with my bike. Is the tire pressure good? Maybe something got caught up in the engine, crawled up in there I didn't realize, and things are kind of thrown off a little bit. Make sure that your bike is in proper working order, especially if it's been parked for an extended period of time. But if you are injured in a motorcycle accident, make sure you contact Law Tigers at 1-800-LAW-TIGERS even before you contact your insurance company. Insurance companies, they want to give you the least amount possible, whereas Law Tigers, the riders too. They know what your bike is worth, what your gear is worth, and what you're going through after an accident. That's why your case evaluation with them is always free, and they don't get paid until your case settles. So call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle injury lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9. The Fan, as promised, talks Keandre Miller joining the Canes, signing long-term. Next.
That'll be 30 even.
That's 90 points! Sorry, that was a lot.
Now that I'm getting 3 times the points on food and fuel with the Navy Federal More Rewards American Express card, I get a little too hyped sometimes.
Cool. Would you like your receipt?
In the bag! Sorry. In the bag, please.
Learn more about the everyday, everywhere Navy Federal More Rewards American Express card at NavyFederal.org. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Navy Federal is insured by NCUA.
It's bow time. Something new just dropped at Bojangles. Take the bold taste of a crispy golden chicken supreme that's been seasoned to perfection, then add dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, and a toasted bun that's great on the go. What do you get? You get a Bo's Bird Dog. In fact, you can grab 2 of them for $5. So when you're on the go, headed to practice, or need a snack, grab a Bo's Bird Dog. Hurry in before they're gone, available for a limited time. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time, but sometimes it's go time. No time to stop, but the perfect time for a Bojangles Bird Dog. A seasoned to perfection Bojangles Chicken Supremes, dill pickles, and Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, all tucked inside a toasted bun. Great on the go. Try 2 bird dogs for just $5 or 2 bird dog combo for just $8.25. Available for limited time only. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
Will you make the right call? Time's running out, pressure's on, and you need your roof replaced. Hi, I'm Holly from RoofWorks. It's 4th and goal, and the decision's in your hands. The competition can't stop you. You're about to score the game winner. We've trained for years for this moment to raise the roof for you. So avoid the noise and put us in the game. Call RoofWorks today or visit us online at roofworks.com. That's roof, WERKS.com.
Keeping your engines healthy means protecting them in season and out. Experts trust Stable to do that, and third-party testing confirms it. Stable is the industry leader in preventing fuel-related issues, no matter if you use it in your car, boat, or outdoor power equipment. In season or out, at every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable.
44, shot by Miller! He scores! Keandre Miller, first defenseman in Rangers history to record 4 points in a single period. Wow.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I'm not saying he's listening, but if Keandre Miller were listening and he heard what I'm about to tell you about how you can win your weight in meat, according to the listing, it'd be 210 pounds of meat. Is that a weird way to get into an ad read? You're darn right it is. Win Your Weight in Meat is back starting today at 3 p.m., which was 45-ish minutes ago. The phone lines, the text lines have been open for you to text the keyword BEEF, B-E-E-F, to 919-860-5326 for your shot at becoming a finalist. Every weekday for the next 2 weeks, including today, in less than 15 minutes, around 4 p.m., we will be calling one lucky texter live on air, and all you have to do is tell us your weight, and then you are in the running, one of our 10 finalists. On Monday, July 21st, we will call randomly, we will select randomly one of our 10 finalists to win their weight in meat. So the first one will be a finalist. We will register our first finalist at 4 o'clock today in just a couple of minutes. It's all brought to you by the NC Beef Council. Beef, it's what's for dinner. So if you want to have an opportunity to be today's finalist, you have to text in BEEF, like right now, B-E-E-F, to 919-860-5326.
And this is your best chance to win.
True.
Because if you don't win today, your number carries over to tomorrow and the rest of the competition. So your best chances right now.
So yeah, for today, you will be competing against 1 hour's worth of texters because the line just opened at 3. Tomorrow, 25 hours worth of texters will be in the mix. So do with that what you will. The number to text in, the word to text in is BEEF. The number is 919-860-5326. Don't have to say anything other than that. Just BEEF in the text. And you will be in the pool. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. The Keandre Miller trade. it proves something about the Canes, and it's something I like about the Canes. They seem unable to resist value. Right? There's really two ways to look at roster building. There's two ways to look at drafting if you're in a rookie draft. There's two ways to look at it. One, it's all about fit. The other, it's all about value. The Canes continue to prove that they are unable to do anything but best player available. Best player available. And I'm a best player available guy. Like that's the theory that I tend to align with more. Keandre Miller was traded to the Canes, and I'm sure many of you know this, but I'll recap it, by the Rangers. Last week, it was Tuesday, and he immediately signed an 8-year, $60 million contract. In return, the Rangers received a second-round pick in the 2026 NHL draft, a conditional first-rounder in the 2026 or 2027 NHL draft, and defenseman Scott Morrow, who we saw play bit parts in both the regular and postseason for the Canes this year. I think it's interesting how it is being phrased, okay? Because, A, he is a left-handed defenseman, and we went into the offseason with the Canes need a right-handed defenseman. So now they are sitting on Slavin, Nikishin, Gostisbehere, and now Miller, who are all left-handed. You would expect the other two defensemen to play if the roster were to play right now. Jalen Chatfield, Sean Walker are right-handed. So you have to figure out who do you play off-handed and with whom do you pair them, right? It would have been much cleaner if you shopped for fit over best player or best value and just got a right-handed defenseman at all costs. But the Canes look value, right? They look talent. They look better. Maybe projection on somebody that can play offhanded. Maybe they're anticipating another move coming up,
And
which
they
is
also
always
did,
a possibility.
They also did report you look at Evan Bouchard, who is right-handed from the Edmonton Oilers.
Which, if you have to pivot off a right-handed defenseman and you go left-handed defense, like that's going down the list of maybe value and two players that are equal. Maybe Ty goes to the right-handed, but like you have a bit of a interesting roster now at the blue line. But you'll never hear me complain if you got what you think is the best player. Right? You'll never hear me complain if you acquired who you think is somebody that can be a part of your core for the next 7 years, 8 years. That sounds good to me. So they are all in on value. The other part that I find interesting with how it's being phrased, and we'll actually play some audio here from Elliot Friedman, who's been all over all of the breaking news in the NHL this offseason. He frames it as Carolina making a bet on Miller. This is how he put it.
The Hurricanes are willing to take a bet. The Rangers weren't. The Rangers weren't willing to go long-term with Miller. They were only willing to go, I think, a couple of years. Obviously, Carolina was not afraid of that. We'll see like how that works long-term. Who made the right bet, the Hurricanes or the Rangers?
There's a lot of, the Canes are betting on Miller. The Canes are more comfortable betting on Miller. The Canes are betting that Miller reaches his potential. It is that, okay? But it is also a bet on themselves just as much, right? It is also a bet on the Canes' ability to develop players. It is also a bet on Rod Brindamore's ability to communicate system and culture. It's also a bet on putting him in the room with Jacob Slavin. And Keandre Miller said all the right things during his immediate availability after, right? He called Jacob Slavin one of the players he models his game after and called him generational and did all of those things that you'd want. But it's not just the Canes betting on Miller. It's also the Canes betting on their ability to get the best out of a player. He dipped in play the last 2 years. After showing, it's still a ton of talent, a ton of physical ability, size, skating ability, all of that early in his career. The Canes are making a long-term bet. That's a lot of years. That's a lot of term on that contract. Making a long-term bet that they and he can combine to help him reach his potential better than what the Rangers were doing. Because I Dennis, we've talked about it off air. Rangers fans They think the Canes overpaid. I think the Canes overpaid if you get the version of Keandre Miller that's been playing for the Rangers the last couple of seasons. The Canes aren't expecting that version of Keandre Miller. They're expecting better. Matter of fact, they're expecting value that is above $7.5 million a year, right? That's how you manage a roster well. They're expecting more than that. And part of that is who he's going to be skating with. Part of that is maybe some development that just comes with being somebody moving into your mid to late 20s, which I think we forget about a lot with sports because their careers are often over mid 30s. But think about yourself at 23, 24 versus yourself at 28, 29 as far as your work habits and everything else. Even if you're the most mature 23-year-old on the planet, there's a good chance that you got into a better rhythm as far as maximizing your potential in whatever you do later in your 20s. And the other thing is, I love this experiment, right? And it's one of the things that I was excited about when all the Mitch Marner noise was happening with Carolina. Sometimes I just want to see a talented player and how they play with Rod Brindamore scowling on the bench at him for the entire game, right? Just like, hey, what if you had somebody holding you accountable, obviously, in the way that only a former player who did all the little things right could do, holding you accountable 100% of the time? What would that unlock for you? Miller is a great case for that. It's a scientific experiment for that. Because if he puts it all together, and Dennis, you had a great takeaway stat. What was it?
So Keandre Miller was 12th in the NHL in takeaways among all players in the league. He had 47 last year. For a little context, Jacob Slavin, number 1 in the NHL in takeaways last year with 61. All right, number 1. So looking at top 12 in that regard. But also if you look at number of takeaways, that would have been second on the Carolina Hurricanes last year in terms of defensemen. Brady Shea, I'm sorry, not Brady Shea, who's the former Cane.
Very similar to Keandre Miller in his career arc.
But Brent Burns and Shane Gostisbehere each had 36 last year. Dmitry Orlov only had 21. If you also look at total number of giveaways, which has been a thing that a lot of New York Rangers fans are talking about Keandre Miller, is that his number of giveaways were less than Brent Burns, were less than Dmitry Orlov. He was about 51st in the NHL in terms of giveaways last year. And this, again, amongst all skaters as well. There's some guys that were like Zach Werenski and Mikhail Sergachev and Victor Hedman that were top 10 in the NHL in number of giveaways last year. So I think some of those can be a little bit reflective in terms of they, at least from Rangers fans, seeing like, I see this guy give the puck away and all that kind of stuff. I even mentioned about how like he adds a little bit of physicality, and Rangers fans like, what do you mean physicality for him? Like, well, if you look at the last 4 years, his number of hits would have been top among all Canes defensemen over the last 4 years. So I think in a Canes system, with his skating ability, it's going to fit just fine. Not going to ask him to be a number 1 shutdown guy. Jacob Slavin's got that covered.
It's really exciting to me to hear the takeaway stat, because that shows what he can be. You just have to button some things up. And I think the Canes are betting on themselves to be really good button-uppers, right? Make sure he's in the right spot. Make sure he and his partner are working well. He and his defensive pairing are playing well together. And keep that top. And it reminds me of like a corner with a lot of interceptions in football, but also gives up the occasional, like, biting on a double move. And you're just like, if we just get you a hair more patient, but you keep the ability to get your hands on the ball, ceiling is the roof. If you keep Keandre Miller's ability to force takeaways, and you just make him a hair more disciplined in the assignment stuff, I don't think you're going to look at an 8-year, $60 million contract with the places the cap is going and be anything other than stoked. But you got to make it happen, right? Now you got to put up or shut up. It rhymes and it's true. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have football at 4 coming up next. The Canes have been very busy this offseason. There's very little NFL postseason left, but there are still a few moves the Panthers can make to get better if they want to go all out for the postseason and try to win in the playoffs. And at the top of the next hour, before we get to football at 4, we will qualify our first finalist for our Win Your Weight in Meat competition. Text keyword BEEF, B-E-E-F, to 919-860-5326 for your chance at becoming a finalist in just a couple minutes. Our first finalist will be anointed, brought to you by the NC Beef Council. Beef, it's what's for dinner, coming up.
Black isn't just a color. It's the presence of infinite possibilities. It's the moment before everything changes. An invitation to something unforgettable.
I won.
Win up to $4 million with Carolina Black Premier from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 4.18. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Give me a mountain with lots to do. Give me something simple and true. All I need is sunshine and a cool, refreshing Mountain Dew. Yes, give me my good friends. Give me a dew.
Grab some ice-cold Mountain Dew today.
Mountain Dew.
Leftover Salmon and the infamous String Dusters are coming to Cocoa Booth Amphitheater Saturday, July 11th. Get your tickets on etix.com today.
Down on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 five-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Richie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Richie Law is on top of it.
That one back, that one going, gone!
Go to RichieLaw.com.
That's RichieLaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. A lot of folks will have cleanup to do in our western counties, including Durham and Chapel Hill, where we had major flooding overnight last night. Our high this afternoon, 92 under partly cloudy skies, feeling more like upper 90s with a heat index that only gets worse tomorrow. We'll drop down to 75 tonight, but back to 96 tomorrow. A small chance of a thunderstorm, but the heat index could feel like 105.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb and Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones down 422 points to 44,406.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. We do have football at 4 coming up. But first, we have the honor of naming our first finalist for our Win Your Weight in Meat contest, brought to you by the NC Beef Council. Beef, it's what's for dinner. We have David and Carrie on the phone lines here. David, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. There is one thing you have to do in order to be officially named one of our 10 finalists for our Win Your Weight in Meat competition. You have to tell us your weight. So what are you working with, David and Carrie?
Not much. 155.
Hey, you know what? 155 coming from the beef side of things. You could have more than a couple barbecues there. More than a couple cookouts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you are officially one of our contestants. You are a finalist. Congratulations, David.
Thank you, sir.
It was that easy. Now, one thing you should do is have your phone on and turned on loud. Don't have it on vibrate on Monday, July 21st at about 4 o'clock. Okay?
I'll be driving home from work.
All right. So make sure you're in reception. Stay on the line. Dennis might have some info to grab from you, but we appreciate you for participating.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
If you want to join David and Carrie as one of the 10 finalists, there are 9 more spots. Text in BEEF, B-E-E-F, to 919-860-5326 right now or anytime in the next 24 hours, but do it now before you forget. And at 4 o'clock tomorrow, right about this time, we will call another lucky texter live on air. They'll do the same thing, have to give us their weight, and they will be entered into the running as one of our 10 finalists, out of which we will pick one randomly selected finalist to win their weight and meet on Monday, July 21st. Again, all of it brought to you by the NC Beef Council. Beef, it's what's for dinner.
By the way, if you text in today, your entrance will be good for tomorrow and the next day and the next day. You don't have to text in every single day. So if you text in today, you're good to go.
There you go. You're locked and loaded. Appreciate everybody for joining in, and good luck to you as in your quest to win your weight and meet. Now let's jump into football at 4. I'm actually surprised, and I feel like this happens every year, so I don't know why it's, maybe it's my pet peeve thing. I hate when people go like, oh my gosh, is it October already? And I'm like, yep, that's how calendars work, right? When one month ends, the next one begins. But I'm surprised that this time every year, the potential difference makers you can still find in free agency in the NFL. Draft happens, the rush of free agency happens, and then there's these stragglers where I'm going, they could fill a hole on the roster. If the Panthers want to go all out and chase the playoffs at all costs this season, if they feel it is past the point of valuing draft pick positioning or past the point of playing young players to get better and gain experience over trying to win every game, which sounds crazy, but it happens, right? Sometimes you got to let quarterbacks go through growing pains. Sometimes you got to let young guys, sink or swim in the deep end, even though you might have a veteran that would win more games for you on the bench. If the Panthers want to go all out, chase the playoffs at all costs, there are a few more moves available this summer. Asante Samuel Jr. is available, cornerback. He's just 25 years old. He is coming off an injury season. I believe he played 4 games last year. But he is a guy that has shown the ability to be trusted at corner, on islands, to be able to be tested and come away with, no corner is going to stop everything. But opposite of J.C. Horn, you need somebody that is more than able to answer the challenge. Right? As a former quarterback, I'll tell you, you know where the lockdown corner is. And if it's 6 to 1, half dozen to the other on a read, you go the opposite way, right? You go, hey, if I have to take a 50-50 shot here, I'm avoiding that guy, means the other one gets tested a lot. It's why a lot of times, you have Darrelle Revis on one side, the guy on the other side, like Antonio Cromartie or whatever, is near the league lead in pass breakups because he's getting tested a ton, right? You need that guy over there. So if you don't love Mike Jackson, who's kind of the other starting corner right now, signed a extension in the offseason, or you feel you need more depth, or you think you can move guys around into the slot and you need one more, Samuel Jr. looks pretty appetizing for a player available, as we enter into the middle weeks of July. Then there's the other thing that I think the roster still needs. I still think they need a free safety. I still think they need a true, maybe almost stereotypical free safety. More Ed Reed than like Brian Dawkins, if you get what I'm saying. Somebody that can play the back half, that can play deep safety, can play center field, and get their hands on the ball. It was interesting. The most recent edition of Blueprint, I call it state-owned propaganda, the behind-the-scenes YouTube series that is put out by the Carolina Panthers onto their own YouTube. So, of course, they showed the behind-the-scenes of the entire free agency period, and we only see them discussing how much they love the players that they ended up signing. Right? They're not going to show us how much they loved the players that they made healthy offers to that chose to go somewhere else.
Like, this guy sucks.
Yeah. I guess we could settle for Tershawn Wharton. Like, they're not going to show us if that was said. I'm not saying it was, but I'm saying, hey, let's burn that tape, right? They brought up Merrick, their big free agency safety. And the interesting part is they're like, oh, we love his versatility. And then they talked all about his ability to come up and stop the run. Right? Then they say, oh, we love his versatility because he's not just a coverage safety. He can come up and really deliver the smackdown on, and even if he's in on the run game, and even if he's in a coverage assignment, he can still come up and help in the run game. And I'm going like, oh, there's no doubt Merrick can help in the run game. It's kind of what he's known for. If he's playing free safety, he needs to be able to, at times, open up stride and run with the guys taking the top off the defense and make sure he's not getting beat deep. I'm not sure that's his best category right now. And somebody like an undrafted rookie free agent second-year player, Damani Richardson, might have more of that ability, but that's a big bet on a player with that pedigree. So I'm looking at the free agency market to see if there's anyone worth checking out, and I see Julian Blackmon, safety from the Colts last year, and Marcus Williams, a safety who's been injury-riddled with the Ravens the past few years, and they can both very obviously, you might even say their strength is that center field safety, right? Marcus Williams is a guy with 20-plus interceptions in his career. Again, not quite 30. It's getting your hands on the ball a lot. They can play center field, which is something I think this defense needs, particularly because I looked around at the edge rushers in the free agency market, and there's not much there, right? Ironically, one of the top 10 guys on ESPN's best free agents available list, Jadeveon Clowney, who is a guy that played for the Panthers last year and didn't get after the quarterback enough. There's others such as Zadarius Smith, Matthew Judon, but you're looking at 32 plus. You're looking at meaning age. You're looking at guys that probably don't want to take reps away from your second and third round pick or from somebody like Pat Smith, who you brought in from the Vikings to get those guys on the field. So if you're not getting the best edge rush, you better have guys that can cover. There's a big difference between covering for 3 seconds and covering for 4.5, 5 seconds, right? Because that's the difference between a good pass rush and a bad pass rush. And the difference might be, do you have a safety that can get there and cover ground and recover and do all of those things? So if the Panthers want to go all in on making the postseason, which they don't have to, by the way, you could play Damani Richardson and live with the mistakes that happen and say, we like what we've seen from him in practice. We like what we've seen from him in his limited game tape. And we want to let him play through those growing pains with the expectation that we kind of have a diamond in the rough here. You could do that. But if your goal truly is postseason or bust, like win the division or slide into a wild card, I'd be more comfortable with maybe a more veteran proven option at that position. And heck, nobody ever complains about having depth, right? Then you can maybe survive an injury to the secondary. How about that?
Yeah, we
concept?
saw the injuries ravage the team last year.
Part of the reason why Damani Richardson and Shaw Smith-Wade are even options to depend on this year is because they were forced into playing last year by injuries. Again, depth is good. I'd much rather have players who it's like, we might want to start him as my second stringer than have, we might want to start him as my starter and whatever is behind that as your second stringer. So there's still options out there if they want to go make moves. And they do have a bit of cap space if they want to use it. We'll see. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. And by the way, those players would have to then agree, like they've got options as well. They might not want to come play for the Panthers. That's where you got to, put your salesman hat on. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have Ladder Challenge. We have winners and losers. We have a whole bunch more coming up. But first, Dennis would like to pass along some info.
Hey, folks. Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. I'll be honest. It's been a disappointing couple of weeks for me. Weather's just been so terrible. The motorcycle has just been parked in the driveway. Hasn't really been a very fun time. I keep looking outside and maybe there's a chance to ride this week. But no, that's not the case because it's stupid hot or it's raining or whatever it might be. But I have to make sure when I get back on the motorcycle, the fact that it's been parked for a long time, I really have to make sure it's in proper working order. If you take care of your bike will help take care of you. And that's a great way to help eliminate any possible dangers when you're out there on the road is take care of your bike first. But we also know that accidents can happen. This is where Law Tigers comes in. Give Law Tigers a call at 1-800-LAW-TIGERS if you're injured in a motorcycle accident. Again, call them before you contact your insurance company. Law Tigers, they're part of the motorcycle riding community. They know what your bike is worth, what your gear is worth, but most importantly, they know what you're going through after you've been in an accident. That's why your case evaluation is always free with Law Tigers, and they don't get paid a dime until your case settles. So call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle injury lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, as promised, gets to a ladder challenge and winners and losers. Next, stick around.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
I don't know how many times the Steelers have to take the same approach and get the same result before they do something different. Treating quarterback as if it's fungible, as if those players are interchangeable, as if it's an afterthought when it comes to finding ways to contend, just seems like delusion in 2025.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. HIMS.com/JOY.
Is your whole home operating at peak performance? With Newcomb & Company, your independent trained dealer, proudly serving our community for over 70 years. As a Comfort contract customer, you'll get priority service and a 15% discount on all HVAC and plumbing service calls and repairs, including repairs and replacements for faucets, toilets, piping, garbage disposals, water heaters, drain cleaning, and more. Call 919-862-3000 or visit newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company. Your comfort is our business.
At Wells Fargo, we know what got you into your business. Whether it's manufacturing, running a restaurant, or your business from home. What you didn't get into your business for was banking. But luckily, Wells Fargo offers business checking, payments, and lending all in one place, in your neighborhood and on our app, so you can focus on doing what you love. Wells Fargo, you're good at business, we're good at business banking. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/business. Terms apply. Wells Fargo Bank and a member FDIC.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It's been a while. Dennis, I believe the 27th of June was our last ladder challenge.
Yeah, we both lost.
Interesting.
Yeah, because you bet on the Mets.
They lost 9-1.
Yeah, and I bet on the Red Sox, and they lost too.
But I do have my honor.
Yeah.
You can't take that away.
No.
So here's what I propose.
Okay.
We start July today normal, because that's what we were planning to do.
Okay.
Right? I say tomorrow we do a double Jeopardy.
All right.
Tomorrow, $10, one bet. Whoever wins June.
Okay.
It's the final deal. We put it all on one bet. It would be unfair to do today because we weren't expecting it.
Okay.
So today we just start July normal. Maybe we even do a normal July bet to keep it rolling for tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And then in addition, we do the final June bet.
Okay.
So it's one $10 bet. Whoever has the most money the next day wins. We don't consult each other beforehand. We have no idea how aggressive you're going, how safe you're going. It is one bet for the month of July, for the month of June. That person gets the trophy for the rest of July. Are we in?
All right, deal.
Okay, cool. So that'll be for tomorrow's show to settle June. Right now, we will start the month of July because this is our first show where we're both in the studio. As I don't even know what you can go ahead. You've been around. I've been out. So with my honor intact and a potential gave away the month of June. What are you betting on today?
So are we sticking with the -500 to -1,000?
No, I think this will be our last week. July will be our last month of no restrictions. Then we'll decide in August if we want to go back to the old way or keep it the new way. But this one, $10 bets. To start, you can go with whatever odds you want, and from that point forward, we'll make it work.
All right, give me Shohei Ohtani, anytime home run, +180. $10 will turn into 28.
That's hilarious. I have a different Dodger.
Oh, okay.
I have Mookie Betts to hit a home run.
All right.
For the Dodgers at the Brewers, it's +400. This is my weird, I look for narratives. Mookie is not an all-star. He is an all-star snub.
He was hurt for a chunk of time, though, early in the year, right?
Yeah, but with fan voting being a part of it, guys like Mookie just like they don't plan vacations for the All-Star break. You know what I mean? They just expect to be there, and he's not. And I believe he is good enough to take that personally and do something about it. I think he is going to be swinging as hard as he possibly can today to try to make the voters and the voting public feel stupid. So that'll turn $10 into $50 if and or when Mookie Betts goes yard. So we'll see. Maybe the Brewers just have a terrible day and we'll both hit, and that'll be a fun one. So there you go. That's the ladder challenge to start off July. Tomorrow we'll continue July and have a separate bet to settle the month of June. Because if you listen to the show, I don't like ties. I don't like it at all. That's the ladder challenge. Let's move on to the next here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan, which is winners and losers. It's coming. I promise. Here we go.
This team will never lose again.
Winners and losers. So here's how it works. It's who won or who lost last week. And we're talking more vibes than we are on the scoreboard, right? It's got to be more than you scored more points than the other team. It's got to be who's the real winner and loser of the last week. I'll lead off. Winner, I'm just Keandre Miller. And the reason being, life-changing money. 8 years, $60 million, fully guaranteed in hockey. People don't realize that. Fully guaranteed. Gets to play with what appears to be, if he's being the truth, one of his idols or players he emulated in Jacob Slavin. He talks very openly about how this money will not only take care of himself for life, but take care of his mom for life, which is a very cool deal. And leaving the area of the country where he was playing previously, there's a lot of tax savings there as well, right? It doesn't just benefit the teams with no state income tax. Sometimes you just got to get out of like the New York area and the California area to save yourself a nice little chunk of change. So shout out to Keandre Miller. Life-changing money for the 25-year-old. Loser? This one's going to not make sense at first. Joey Chestnut.
I'm sorry, what?
Joey Chestnut.
Okay.
He won the Nathan's hot dog eating contest.
Yeah.
But let's be real. He won by like 30. Right? The next closest was, he had 70 and a half hot dogs eaten. Next closest, I think, was 46. So not quite 30, but a lot.
Dominant.
Hey, he's not competing against other competitors. You know who he's competing against? History. You know how many hot dogs he ate in 2021? 76. The year before, 73. The year before, 71. The year before, 74. The year before, 72. He's competing against history. This was a mediocre year. Everybody was celebrating like it was something great. Oh, I led the league and da-da-da. It's like, yeah, but you were well below your best. It's not you versus the competition. It's you versus you, Joey Chestnut. And you've lost. Joey Chestnut, loser. Dennis, do you have some winners and losers you like to throw out?
Logan Stankoven.
I assume winner.
Absolutely a winner. Logan Stankoven, absolutely a winner. Not only is he going to be with the Carolina Hurricanes for the next 9 years, but talk about stability and being in a place where you're absolutely loved. Logan Stankoven has it. You got to think, he's in the final year of his entry-level contract. Mm-hmm. So he has his final year of his ELC, and then that's when the 8-year extension kicks in. Like, that's awesome for him. It's awesome for the team. It's awesome for the fan base, which leads me to my next winner, Eric Tulsky. The fact that you got Logan Stankoven to sign for 8 years at $6 million a year, a contract that doesn't kick in till next year, you got that deal done? Props. That's going to be a steal. Absolute steal.
Do you know what I think was really cool about that whole, just the way it all broke? There were absolutely no games played. Like, Logan Stankoven showed up like a week later. He was talking about, yeah, I could see myself playing here long term. Like, immediately, Eric Tulsky is saying he's the type of player we would love to have in Carolina for a long time. Like, there was no Well, the agent said he's, interested in testing free agency. There was none of that. Both from the beginning seemed to be very open, very public with, this would work, right? I see no reason why it shouldn't. Then they came to a very fair deal. I don't think Logan Stankoven's going to look back on that deal and go, man, what a dummy I am for taking. And I think Carolina's going to look back and say we got great value out of that deal. I just, in a world where agents and front offices and there's leaks and there's sources say the player this, the player that, in a bunch of other negotiations that have taken place across the NHL, there are, get ready for this, allegations and rumors of tampering about a year before you hit the open market. Teams are having conversations behind closed doors, under the table. Meanwhile, Logan Stankoven and Eric Tulsky are out here just going no, we'll say everything into a microphone. We've got nothing to hide. And it worked out. I think that's really cool. I had Eric Tulsky as a winner for a different reason. I've referenced this earlier. The Evan Bouchard with Edmonton extension, reportedly, according to Elliot Friedman, was kind of accelerated. They wanted to get that deal done faster due to a looming threat of a offer sheet from Carolina for Bouchard. Somebody who maybe talks more trash or somebody who lives in more internet circles may look around and then just go, free real estate. You're making your decisions based on what you think we might do or what we might threaten to do. The league respects Eric Tulsky's, and I said this earlier, but I say it positively. They respect his crazy. They respect his willingness to do any and everything that he thinks is best for the team. There are a lot of people running professional sports organizations from the scouting and roster management side of things that are timid, that are afraid of making the big mistake. And thus other teams get to operate in, we know he's not going to pull the trigger on a bit, or we know they aren't going to risk looking foolish. I think the Canes are no, we'll make the move, we'll deal with the repercussions. Thus other teams have to operate, a bit more aggressively or a bit more aware of where the Carolina Hurricanes are, and I think that's good for business. I think that's powerful. What was that, a winner? I'll go to a loser next. This is good because he plays for a rival of the Carolina Panthers. Alvin Kamara. He threw out the first pitch at a Cubs game. Is he from Illinois? I don't know why he would be throwing out the first pitch at... He went to Alabama, then he went to Tennessee. Now he plays in New Orleans. But he threw out the first pitch at a Cubs game. I've never seen this before, by the way. Maybe it's happened, but I've never seen it before. He dirted it, right? He made about halfway. Spiked it, if you will. Horrendous first pitch, which normally it ends there, right? Normally, ha, make fun of the person, can't throw a baseball, yada, yada, yada. But instead, he went, no, give it back, one more. And he threw a second first pitch, which is against the rules. You can't do it. But then the Saints tweeted out just that first pitch. You can't. Is there no integrity? It's called the first pitch, not the second pitch. You don't get a warm-up pitch. He's the first person to throw a first pitch and get the count to 1-1. Can't do that.
You think the Cubs should have been charged with a mound visit?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. It should have counted as the first pitch should have ball one. The leadoff hitter for the Cubs should have gone out there with a strike on him. That's the only way to make it fair. You can't have multiple first pitches. A few more here. Winners. This is a group. Armando Bacot, Kyle Filipowski, DJ Stewart. These are former UNC and Duke basketball players. Strong showings to start NBA Summer League.
I saw R.J. Davis playing this weekend in the Summer League as well.
R.J. Davis, Harrison Ingram, Efton Reed, Marcus Bolden. These are players from the state of North Carolina college teams. Less impressive, but you're just getting started. I think it's 6th through the 10th, kind of 5th through the 10th. is this first round of Summer League. So there's still more games to come.
This team will never lose again.
But Baycott, Filipowski, and Stewart, who, by the way, are all players that have been in kind of Summer League and around G League and or NBA teams for a year already, at least. They look good, right? And when you're competing for that, 10th, 11th spot on an NBA roster, big Summer League might be the difference. So credit to them. And then Davis, Ingram, Reed, the other guys I mentioned, still time, right? Part of what Summer League is the opportunity to get your feet wet and kind of get used to the level of play. So keep doing that. And then loser, last one here, for me at least, unless Dennis has more.
I have a loser.
I have a feeling we might be the same, so go ahead.
All right, go on. Everyone with the narrative that the Carolina Hurricanes can't sign star players. That big-name players don't want to play with the Carolina Hurricanes. Losers, all of you. Get out of here. You stink.
Has there ever been a narrative created more by one guy?
For real.
Like, literally, it's... It's crazy how much the Mikko Rantanen situation changed the way everybody thinks about the Canes. And Jake Gensel wanted to stay, just so everybody knows. My last loser is the U.S. men's national team. Talking soccer. Lost to Mexico, Gold Cup final. They're about to host the World Cup. North America is, at least. You'd hope you'd have a little bit more momentum going into it.
Well, they missed a handball in the box, Tim, in the second half.
Control what you can control.
Yeah, ref, call it.
I wasn't talking to the ref, but hey, all right. By the way, two things can be true at the same time. Bad refs, not good enough soccer.
True.
By the way, I'm not sure if what I said is true there because I'm not a soccer expert. But I do get weirdly into anything where it's USA against everybody else. So with the World Cup coming up, figure it out. Don't put it in the ref's hands. Don't put it in the VAR system's hands. Win by multiple goals. So I can chant USA while watching games. There you go. That's it for winners and losers here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. And we're going to end winners and losers so I can talk about the Canes landing one of, if not the biggest fish in the free agency pool at the time, Nikolaj Ehlers. And it goes in to what Dennis was saying, which is you can take that narrative that players don't want to play for the Canes and put it wherever you want to. But just don't keep it out. Don't keep it ready to use. Don't keep it publicly available because it's not true. Ehlers signed a 6-year, $51 million contract with the Hurricanes last Thursday, which obviously, quick math, doing this on air and don't have it in my notes, $8.5 million per. Let's first talk about what Ehlers is. Yeah, there you go. Let's first talk about what Ehlers is. He's a 25 goal per season player, 60-point ability. He's done it a few times. He's played 10 NHL seasons, and in every season other than his rookie year and a year in which he missed 37 games due to injury, he's scored 20 goals in the rest. So 8 out of 10 years. Again, hat tip to Walt Ruff, team reporter for the Canes, for reaching the stat. I have an even more interesting fun fact for you about Nikolaj Ehlers. Pro Hockey Reference, it is good for just raw stats. I wouldn't use it for everything, but I do frequent Pro Hockey Reference, Pro Football Reference quite a bit. Their websites. They have something called a similarity score. They look at just adjusted point shares, okay, which is essentially an advanced analytic designed to show how much you contribute to winning, okay? So how much you help your team winning. And then they line up your years and they find other people whose careers followed the same level of a great first year, a lower second year, a great third year, 2 down years. Then it clicked, great for 4 years or whatever it is. And of every single forward that has played in the NHL since stats began being kept in extreme detail, right? You can only go back so far. It's hard to decide how many hits a guy had when every game wasn't televised, right? But since the NHL has begun keeping stats in extreme detail, do you know who is the most similar through 10 NHL seasons to Nikolaj Ehlers? As far as how good they've been season in, season out through your first 10 years? Rod Brindamore.
Okay.
Rod Brindamore is Nikolaj Ehlers' #1 similarity score through 10 seasons. That's just a fun fact. I don't think it says anything about the way they're going to play or the definitely not style of play, but it's kind of fun to know, right? #1 is a fun fact. He's now playing for Rod Brindamore. Do with that what you will. But more importantly than fun facts, than statistics that he's posted, more importantly than style of play, the thing that the Nikolaj Ehlers signing does for me is it does what Dennis said. It is a mic drop moment against those that say free agents with options don't want to play for Carolina. It is a continuation of post-trade deadline themes from the second half of last season. The Canes want players. The Canes want their roster to be composed darn near exclusively of players that want to be Carolina Hurricanes. If you remember, after the whole Mikko Rantanen debacle, if you want to call it that, some might call it just a interesting midseason situation. But however you categorize it, when the players began talking to the media, Taylor Hall said it right here on this show, and it went kind of viral, was we want players that want to be here. Everyone in the locker room wants to be here. They want to be in Carolina. And I'm paraphrasing, but there was some form of that in so many media moments for the team. Nikolaj Ehlers wants to be a Cane. Right? This was not, well, I want to go to whoever gives me the most money. Matter of fact, there are some reports and rumblings out there that there may have been bigger offers from elsewhere in the NHL, and he passed up who knows how much more, but he passed up more lucrative offers elsewhere in order to be a Carolina Hurricane.
And if he wanted the most money, he could have got a 7th year.
Very true.
Only signed for 6.
So it was, he could have said, I want to go. This isn't, I wanted to go to any contender. This isn't, I wanted to go to any team on the East Coast. It feels like he once he surveyed the field, right, and he did take a couple of days, right? He didn't sign July 1, signed a few days later. But when he surveyed the field, he believed the Canes were the best fit for him. That's important. And we have some audio to back that up. Nikolaj Ehlers on being ready to play for Raleigh.
You play hockey for the city. I love playing hockey, but you want the fans to be excited about your team. You want the fans to, stand outside the rink like they did in Winnipeg and watch the playoff games and go nuts. That's what gives you the extra energy. And I believe that they've built something similar to that in Carolina. So, I'm excited to feel that.
Play for the city. How does that feel? Everybody out there? He's playing for you. He continued during kind of his first media availability on what makes the Hurricanes the right fit for him.
I think my speed, the stress game that Carolina plays in the sense when they don't have the puck, for example, trying to get the puck back as quick as possible. I think my speed, I'm able to do that. I think with my speed, I can create a lot of room for the other guys as well. And I believe that, I will fit in very nicely. And that's obviously something you look at as well when you try to make a decision. But, I talked to Rod and we had kind of the same vision about how things are going to go. And again, the talks that I've had with the people in the Canes organization is something that really excited me.
You know what it feels a bit like? And I know it's not exactly, but so often when you talk of Nikolaj Ehlers, you bring up, and I'm just talking about like the universal you bring up the speed. And you bring up maybe a tad bit undersized, but he's at the speed. Doesn't it feel a bit like you got a guy who was exactly what you wanted Martin Necas to be for so many years? right? Speed can carry it into the zone, bring something, meaning the speed that the other guys who do so many other things for you in the forward, the top 6 forwards, that they just maybe don't have the ability to do, complements them, can play off of them, can make defenses or defensemen wary of something else, and get this, wants to be there, doesn't want to be drama, doesn't want, doesn't seem like you'll have Nikolaj Ehlers' dad on a podcast creating headlines. Like it's what you wanted Necas to be. And by the way, Necas can handle his business however he wants. Colorado's got to deal with that now, and it appears like they are, right? There's trade rumors. There's, he wants to test the market. Like, we've been there. We know what they're going through. Let them deal with it. Meanwhile, Ehlers is sitting here with a 6-year term. You want guys that want to play in Raleigh. You want guys that want to play for Rod. You want guys that want to play for the Carolina Hurricanes. And by the way, you heard him say, how he fits in with other players on the roster. It's even more beautiful that so much of the core is locked in. So it's not Ehlers saying, yeah, I'm going to sign up for 6 years because I love the fit with these guys, and they're all on, they're all going to be gone in 2 years. Like, he gets to make a decision knowing I'm playing with like 4 of these dudes in the top 6 forwards for the next 3, 4, 5 years, almost guaranteed. Like, there's long-term decisions being made, and I think that is fantastic for Carolina.
So put a little context here in terms of some the advanced numbers, I guess you could say. So you look at goals per 60 minutes of on the ice, right? So if you played 60 minutes on the ice, all situations, how many goals do you score? So Seth Jarvis led the Carolina Hurricanes last year at 1.36 goals over 60 minutes, per 60 minutes of ice time.
All right.
Nikolaj Ehlers, 1.32. Okay? Keep this in mind. Seth Jarvis played about 19 and a half minutes of ice time per game last year. Nikolaj Ehlers was 15.48. Also something to keep in mind. Points per 60 minutes. Nikolaj Ehlers, points per 60 minutes, 3.47. 3.47. That's 16th highest in the entire NHL this past season. Right up there with the likes of, obviously, the guys on the top are Nikita Kucherov, Connor McDavid, those kinds of guys. But that's right up there with Mitch Marner, with Dylan Strome. That's actually more than Austin Matthews. It's more than Sidney Crosby. It's more than Martin Necas. And also you look at just shots on goal per 60 minutes, by far and ahead, way more than what Seth Jarvis is putting up. And Seth Jarvis was the leader in those categories for the Carolina Hurricanes. Seth Jarvis, points per 60 minutes, was 2.85. Nikolaj Ehlers, again, 3.47. Just give Nikolaj Ehlers in this system a little bit more ice time. The guy could thrive here. Really can.
You bring up a great point. Winnipeg, obviously, especially regular season, very, very good.
Stacked team.
15 minutes.
Yes, 15.48 this past year.
And 15.52 the year before. And 15.39 the year before. He's I don't want to say he's been curtailed, because sometimes it is you play less and you can, go more all out. You wear out the turbo button because you understand how much you're going to play. I think he wanted a place that he's going to have some more opportunity to play more, and I think the Canes are looking at it and thinking exactly what you said. Like, if we take some of these per-minute stats and just extend them up to a little bit more, goodness gracious, we might have ourselves a steal of a value contract on our hands. I'm interested to see how that works. I mean, he only has 2 seasons over 17 minutes in his career. I'm looking at, he's got one over 18 minutes average time on ice in his career. There's some room for him to play a bigger role, and I think the Canes are betting that with more volume comes the same efficiency, and then raw totals just go up. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That's a very interesting part that I'm sure we're going to talk about a lot this offseason is, 15 minutes. That's just not enough for a player that good, but First class problems for Winnipeg. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, I have a first class problem for you, right? And it has to do with Manor Service Company. Tim Donnelly here for Manor Service Company. It's been hot. It's been raining. It's been storming. It's been maybe cooling off because the storms and all these things. Manor Service Company, first of all, handles heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. They do it all. The first class problem would be if all of that is running smooth right now. right? If your heating's running great, your cooling's running perfect, your plumbing has been dependable, your electric is, quite literally at the flick of a switch. If all of that is running well, first-class problem. But you want to continue it. Great time, as always, to start thinking about maintenance, checkups, right? Give Mainer Service Company a call so they can come out and just do some maintenance on maybe your cooling system, right? It's obviously running a lot right now because it's been hot, it's been humid. You want to keep your house cool. Have them come out. It's a great time to have them do some cooling maintenance to ensure that your first-class problem stays first-class problem, right? It's the big problems. It's the real annoying problems. When one of those 4 systems, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, isn't working, then you have to call Mainer Service Company under more of a, urgent scenario. If you call them when things are going well, you can avoid that urgent scenario completely. Either way, you want to bookmark the phone number I'm about to give you, whether to keep on hand for one of those urgent scenarios where something breaks, or to call them up for some maintenance, get them out there, check out your system. The number is 919-361-0993. That's 919-361-0993. Or visit them online at MainerServices.com. That's MAYNOR Services.com. We have a feedback frenzy. Going to hear from some of you coming up next.
The Adam Gold Show.
There's a long way to go before we get to the start of training camp, even the start of the regular season. The Hurricanes roster is not a finished product yet. Keandre Miller's nice. Hopefully he can play the right side because he gives Carolina a future piece if he can play that side. But the roster rebuild is a long way off. We're not close to being done. Patience, people. Patience.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
Hey, Greater Triangle area, Chick-fil-A wants to invite you to enjoy 3-count Chick-fil-A chicken strips on us in the Chick-fil-A app. Join us this week, July 7th through 12th, 2025, to get your reward for a 3-count Chick-fil-A chicken strips by downloading or signing into your Chick-fil-A app. With location services on in the Greater Triangle area. Redeem when you order through the Chick-fil-A app at a participating Greater Triangle area Chick-fil-A restaurant from 10:30 a.m. to close. Offer subject to availability. Rewards are single-use only. Limit 1 per person per Chick-fil-A 1 account. See further details in the app.
Are you ready for the ultimate entertainment experience? It's all here, only with Spectrum TV Select. Popular apps are included: Disney Plus, Max, Peacock Premium, Paramount Plus, AMC Plus, and more. And live TV for sports, entertainment, and news. Enjoy across your devices no matter when or where you are. Get Spectrum TV Select and start streaming your favorites today. It's all here. Visit spectrum.com/entertainment. Restrictions apply.
Black isn't just a color. It's the presence of infinite possibilities. It's the moment before everything changes. An invitation to something unforgettable.
I won.
Win up to $4 million with Carolina Black Premier from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 4.18. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Down on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Jamming out, coming out of break. So, last week, Canes made a bunch of headlines. Trades, signings, they were in the mix. They were moving and shaking. And there was plenty of reaction from all of you out there in the social media world, the YouTube comments world, the TikTok world. And because I was at the beach taking a week off, didn't get a chance to react to any of them. So we thought, how about a little Monday feedback frenzy where Dennis brings in some of the best comments from you and we react in real time. Dennis, what do you have for us?
All right, let's go and start off today. Actually, I posed a question on our YouTube live chat. What's a grade so far of the offseason for the Carolina Hurricanes?
What's a grade?
Yeah. So this is what I asked this to the people.
Okay.
So
you weren't asking. Okay,
I was asking you. I asked this to the people. So, for example, our good friend Micah gave a grade of a B because they still haven't addressed their main needs of a right-handed defenseman, a second center, and also adding a little bit of grit. Talia said a solid B, unimpressed with the Primo signing, who's like kind of like the AHL goaltender, Caden Primo, but quickly made it up with the Miller and Ehlers additions. We also had, let's see here. I'm sorry, I'm scrolling through here. I completely missed this. So we have also David said, Tolsky 100% cooked. Give them an A. It'll be an A+ if they add a number 2 center.
I'm going to give more, if I were answering the question, I'm going to give more leeway for the second line center. I'd go like B and would make a jump similarly to like an A+ if they get the second line center. I don't think the second line center to me is so important that jumping from an A to an A+, that's not enough ground. Like I'm tempted to go B- because I think you need to make like more than a 1 grade letter grade improvement to fully capture how valuable that is. But I will give this. Like this is if you're grading on a curve, I'd put them higher. I think it was a really tough free agency class because the way the salary cap is going up, just not many players hit the market. So I think they did better than a lot of teams would have done in the same situation, and better than a lot of teams did this year. So on a curve, their grade would be better. But if you're not grading on a curve, I'd go like B-
So believe it or not, YouTube is obviously a place that we post a lot of stuff, but another place that we post a lot of our content is actually on TikTok. So give us a follow actually on TikTok if you want to as well as Instagram. And let's just say, I discussed last week the Keandre Miller addition. So the breaking news, Keandre Miller traded to the Carolina Hurricanes as part of that sign and trade with the New York Rangers. And let's just say Rangers fans got into the mix in terms of the comment section, sharing their thoughts.
Welcome, Rangers fans. Bring it.
So like Steve said, Miller has the best poke check in the league. He uses it every time he gets beat. Also, Kyle said, oh boy, do I have news for you guys. KW said he is not physical at all, even though he actually would lead the Carolina Hurricanes in hits each of the last 4 years. Kev said he's an awful defenseman and all that size, yet he just pokes. You clearly never watched him play. And what he's getting paid is absolute insanity. Literally getting paid more than Slavin. What are they thinking?
Okay, there's a lot of points there to address.
Yeah.
First of all, he's not getting the whole getting paid less than Slavin deal or more than Slavin. That's just because Slavin's on a great value.
That's what Slavin chose to sign for.
Yeah, Slavin's worth 10. Like, he's worth a bunch. He's just signed for less.
Keandre Miller's making less than what Dmitry Orlov was making, by the way.
True. Facts. And darn near what Orlov got on the open market. Lesser term, obviously. But here's the thing. He's 6'5". He's listed at 210. There's a big difference between 6'5", 210 and 6'2", 210. He's lanky, right? He's a bit, I don't want to say string bean, but like string bean-ish. You darn, if he's not poke checking, he's wasting all of that arm span. He's wasting that wingspan. So yeah, use what you got. Second of all, I do think the Canes are banking on the fact that they can make him a bit more of a more sound defensive player from assignment and technique. And then if they do that, he'll be getting beat less, he'll be out of position less, and in the few instances when he is out of position, he'll still have that bag of tricks to recover, right? One of the best things you can, like, Slavin does this a lot, where he does like I don't know, we call it a baseball, or like not a baseball term. It's a defensive back thing, where you get your back turns to your guy, and he swings around with the one hand on the stick, and it works a lot, right? Slavin's the most sound defensive player I can think of, and even he gets out of position occasionally, and especially if he's, covering for someone else. Those skills translate to a billion situations. I am admitting that I think the Canes believe they'll get more out of Miller than the Rangers did. But I'm not going to sit here and act like, he's 12th in the league in takeaways because he's great at the poke check is some kind of a laugher. Like, that's not a joke to me. Like, that kind of works.
I think also as well is that Miller's going to be playing in a system where he can just skate man-on-man, and he can just use his elite speed and skating ability and just skate with guys. I think that's actually going to help him a lot. It's going to make things a little bit more easier for him. Now, it takes a lot of time to adjust, but certainly there's a thing as well. By the way, Micah just chimed in here on our YouTube live chat. Mentioned all the Rangers fans about the quote-unquote physicality or lack thereof when it comes to Keandre Miller. Micah said it's because the Rangers fans compare physicality to the Chuba train hits and Matt Rempe. That's why they say he's soft. On the Canes, he's tough.
I mean, it is all relative.
Oh, yeah.
It's what you're, Yeah. If I don't know, you're a soft puncher next to George Foreman, you might be like the third hardest puncher in the history of boxing.
True.
And I'm not saying that the Rangers are George Foreman. I'm just saying the Canes, they don't need George Foreman. They just need somebody a little bit tougher, a little bit bigger, and make it work.
Rangers fans continue. Talking about Keandre Miller. It's just nothing but Rangers fans. It's hilarious. Unfortunately, Keandre Miller, this comes from Hell Driver.
Okay.
Unfortunately, he turns the puck over about 6 times a game in his own end. Have fun with all that. This one comes from...
Well, maybe if the Rangers possess the puck in the offensive zone occasionally, he wouldn't have so many opportunities to turn it over.
This one comes from PDog15. I like Miller as a Rangers fan, but his turnovers lost us games. Let's be honest, your whole team stunk. It wasn't Keandre Miller that lost you guys all those games last year and the reason why you missed the playoffs.
Listen, I'm not here to defend bad turnovers. Matter of fact, one of the very frustrating things about the defensemen that we are hoping Miller will replace, right? The Burns, the Orlovs, is the poorly timed, oftentimes own zone turnovers. If I had to bet on a player to get better with decision-making, it would be a guy leaving the Rangers at about 25 years old. For all of the Rangers that fly around and do a bunch of really physical things, it hasn't always been the best decision-makers in the world. And secondly, like, the Canes are a different culture than... I'm not saying one's better or worse. I obviously have my biases and the one I'm a fan of. But, the Canes will play things a bit more conservatively than some other teams, and perhaps that suits them well. I hope it does. By the way, since we have all these Rangers fans listening, obviously, does it feel Brady Shea-like to anybody else?
That's what I said last week.
Feels just like career arc. Player shows some potential, maybe underwhelms at times for the Rangers. Canes take a chance on him, add him to their core. Just saying. Get both from Minnesota, meaning originally American defenseman. Feels kind of similar to me, and maybe that's why they're lashing out, because they're going, no, not again. Not again.
It's funny. It seemed like just Rangers fans like, oh, we won this trade. I'm sorry, you got nothing in return that helps you anytime soon. Like, other than, like, okay, then you didn't want to sign Miller long term. Okay, fine. You signed Gavrikov from the LA Kings. Cool. But you didn't get anything that helps you right now or anytime soon.
And I don't want to disrespect. Like, I like Scott Morrow. I think he's a good prospect. I think he's got potential. Obviously, picks are what picks are, right? They're a bit of magic beans, but they might turn into something. And their assets you could spin for something else. Like, I'm not going to. But I like the trades where you get the crown jewel. I don't like turning 20 nickels into $1. I like taking the $1, right? So maybe that's a personal preference, but have at it. You got to draft really well to win that trade. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That's a little feedback frenzy from apparently Rangers fans. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We'll jump back with the starting five in just a couple seconds. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. We're in the offseason, but it doesn't mean me and my co-host, WREL TV's Chris Lee, take a break from our podcast, Panthers Playbook. In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on Panthers news as training camp approaches, insights on the rookies, the free agents, and the surprises, plus all the insider info on the upcoming season. Follow and subscribe to Panthers Playbook wherever you discover your favorite podcasts or watch on YouTube.
It's bow time. Something new just dropped at Bojangles. Take the bold taste of a crispy golden chicken supreme that's been seasoned to perfection, then add dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, and a toasted bun that's great on the go. What do you get? You get a Bo's Bird Dog. In fact, you can grab 2 of them for $5. So when you're on the go, headed to practice, or need a snack, grab a Bo's Bird Dog. Hurry in before they're gone, available for a limited time. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time, but sometimes it's go time. No time to stop, but the perfect time for a Bojangles Bird Dog. A seasoned to perfection Bojangles Chicken Supremes, dill pickles, and Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, all tucked inside a toasted bun. Great on the go. Try 2 bird dogs for just $5 or 2 bird dog combo for just $8.25. Available for limited time only. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
Did you catch Luisito's header?
Yeah, I just recorded it on my new Samsung A36 5G phone I got for free at Total Wireless.
Oh, I'm actually live streaming the whole match with my new Samsung Tab A9 that I also got free at Total Wireless.
I got that tablet too.
And I got that phone too. We both got both. Go!
Switch to Total Wireless and get both the Samsung A36 5G and the Samsung Tab A9 for free. For a limited time while supplies last, valid in store. Requires new phone activation on the Total 5G Unlimited plan or higher external port and ID verification and new activation on the Total 5G Unlimited 6-month tablet plan. Restrictions apply.
This is Gordon Miller from Miller Lending in Cary. Over the years, I'm often asked why we made the choice to become one of the only mortgage companies in the state to provide loans without closing costs as a primary source of funding. And my response is always the same. How did closing costs ever become a thing? Who was that first person who asked for a lower rate, heard it would cost $15,000 to save $50 a month, smiled and said, "That'd be great"? Recently, we're noticing a trend of large national lenders quoting low rates but with a high APR. This is the definition of what happened when that first person asked for a lower rate but ignored how much it would cost. Quotes today are a 2-part process. It's not just the rate, but what are the closing costs? At Miller Lending, we simply don't believe you'll keep your loan long enough to realize additional savings. So before you throw away thousands of dollars in needless fees, pick up the phone and call Miller Lending today. 919-447-3377, or simply apply online at millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender and MLS number 250-2146.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at richielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRAL meteorologist Mike Mays. A much quieter afternoon than what we saw yesterday. Tonight is mostly clear, warm, muggy, 75 the low. Tomorrow, hot, our high 97. We do have a heat advisory. We also have a level 1 risk for severe weather with storms late in the day and evening.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb and Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones down 422 points to 44,406.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting 5.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time for the starting 5, and as always, we start with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Phil Steele put out his annual college football preview, every team in depth. all kinds of crazy stuff. And I would say he's not noticeably high, meaning like confident in the ACC teams from our state, from the state of North Carolina for this college football season. On his preseason All-ACC teams, first, second, third, and fourth. Does a lot of accolades. 7 NC State players, 6 Duke players, 3 UNC, 4 Wake Forest. So maybe I should have flipped Wake Forest and UNC there. Few observations. One, Duke's defense. Pretty obviously, according to Phil Steele, the most star-studded unit in the state. First-team corner Chandler Rivers, projected to be one of the best players in the country by multiple different sources. First-team All-ACC safety Terry Moore. So half of the first-team secondary in the ACC in Durham. Second-team defensive end Wesley Williams, and third-team linebacker Trey Freeman. That is easily the most star-studded unit, which is interesting because when I was looking at him, the article I read that I was kind of checking off as I read through started with the offense, and I was going, this is kind of crazy. Duke is projected to be, the top team in the triangle, the top team in the state, and at the time they had one fourth-teamer, an offensive guard Justin Pickett, and I was like halfway through the list, I was going like they must be the way better than like the sum of their parts, whatever that saying is. Then all of a sudden it was like first teamer, second teamer, third. Oh, you get to the defense. I get it. Now you figure it out. And they have a first teamer on the offensive line in offensive tackle Brian Parker. So trenches on offense and defense is how Duke's going to win. I think a lot of coaches would like that equation. For state, they did have the most honorees, 2 first-teamers, linebacker Sean Brown, tight end Justin Joly. I am looking forward to what Justin Joly can do. And then outside of that, a lot of the incoming transfers on offense last offseason. Remember last offseason, they won the offseason with all those cool transfers? Running back Hollywood Smothers transferring in from Oklahoma. He's a third-teamer running back. Noah Rogers was an incoming wide receiver from Ohio State. He's a fourth-teamer. Justin Joly was an incoming transfer at tight end from UConn. He's a first-teamer. So maybe winning the offseason last year didn't lead to the season they wanted last season. But maybe it was like, hey, we weren't wrong. We were just early. Right now, all the transfers are going to drive us to wins. They needed a year under their belt.
It's so hard to do, in my eyes, preseason all-conference, especially in today's college sports.
Very
with
true.
So many transfers, new coaches, and everything coming. You just don't know how someone is going to fit in the system. You may know what they've done in the past, but I would say at least with NC State guys or even Duke players is that there is a level of consistency from one year to the next, at least from last year to this year, so you can kind of go off that. But I don't know how a Carolina player that just transferred in or Bill Belichick is going to look. We don't know what it's going to look like at all.
Or even UNC's running back Davion Goss is a fourth-teamer. He showed flashes, right? And what was it, the second half against Charlotte last year when Omarion Hampton sat out. He had 100 yards. But Omarion Hampton didn't give up carries. Like, Goss didn't play all that much. Now it's a new coach, new system, almost completely new offensive line. And off of a projection from under the old coach with a different skill set, with a different darn near everything, they're giving him fourth-team all-conference. So it is very tough. It is tough. That was number 5. Let's get to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
You like that? You like that?
College Football 26, the video game. Oh, it's out.
Some people have early access today, but the 10th is when you actually can get full access this Thursday.
Well, I guess, the rankings and
but yeah, the rankings,
the stats and everything are out. First of all, more important than anything else we're going to discuss about the game, Delaware Blue Hens are in the game, baby. We are in the game. And I saw the people with early access took like the screenshots running through our tunnel and everything, the stadium. It's pretty good. Give EA credit on that kind of stuff. I haven't actually played the game in a long time. I just don't have a system in my house anymore. But I will give them credit. It looks like the traditions they had, the mascots, the stadiums. It gets you pretty nostalgic pretty quick. Duke with the 2 highest rated players in the triangle. We brought him up earlier as Phil Steele preseason all ACC players, but Chandler Rivers, 14th highest ranked player in the entire game. Cornerback for Duke. That's every school, every player. He is the 14th highest rated player. So when you look at, overall rating, Chandler Rivers, Brian Parker, the offensive lineman, 32nd. They have 2 of the top 32 players in the game in Durham. 17 ACC players total in the top 100. I assume a lot of those are Clemson. So, that's how it goes. You going to play the game, Dennis?
Oh, of course, absolutely. I mean, I got college football 25, played it a bunch. I can't wait to get number 26.
Are you going to change your playing habits based on the fact that we now know schools are paid in some part of the equation based on how many games their team is picked to play?
No.
Okay.
No, I won't. I'm still going to choose a random FCS school or a group of 5 school to try and win a national championship with, something along those lines. Usually I go the group of 5. Like, for example, I chose App State as my college football 25 team.
They're too good. You got to
start
further down.
Win a national championship from App State took a little bit. Then I switched over to Bowling Green.
I don't know how good they are. I can't speak aggressively.
It's Bowling Green. You're a mid-level MAC school.
My guess is your recruiting pitch is never location. But
no, it's not. One of the things to keep in mind as well is that the top-rated team in the whole game to start off is Alabama, because sure, why not? But the highest ACC-rated team in the game is Clemson, which is actually a tie for second at 88. Duke comes in at number 23. We're actually a tie for 19. With SMU, Tennessee, Missouri, Auburn, and Duke all rated at 84 in the game as a team ranking.
We're just talking here. I don't know this for a fact.
Yeah.
Duke is a national brand mostly because of their basketball team. I was in New Jersey at the beach for the last week, and you see Duke gear.
Makes sense.
I wonder if they don't get a little bit of a boost in ratings just because there's a lot of Duke fans all over the place. And
maybe.
Because they got to think about it. It is a business for them, right? Like
Cooper Flag.
Like Alabama being the number 1. I don't think Alabama's the best returning team, although they did very well in the transfer market. But Texas is Studley. Clemson has a bunch of NFL guys. Neither of them won the national championship last year, so there's some other options there. But I wonder if the brands don't get a boost just because they know it's more fun to win, and so you take the teams that are picked more often and give them a little boost. I'm just spitballing here. That is number 4. Let's jump to number 3.
First couple hot dogs, I was fumbling a little bit, but I found a pretty good rhythm. My goal was 70 to 77. I really wanted a little bit more, but you know what, dude? There's next year, and I'm just happy I'm here, and happy 4th of July.
Did you watch the hot dog eating contest? That was Joey Chestnut, obviously, after the win.
I did not. I mean, you always see a highlight or a clip or something like that, but yeah.
70.5 hot dogs in 10 minutes for Joey Chestnut. I talked about this earlier. It's like his 6th or 7th highest total in a Nathan's hot dog eating contest. He was banned last year because he took endorsement money from a Impossible hot dog,
Impossible brand,
like a tofu dog or whatever.
It's a vegan,
and that's a competitor of Nathan, so they didn't let him into the event last year. He came back and he got the win. You know what? Do you know what we have in the hot dog eating world? He's got no one to push him. Right? What does every coach say? What does every coach say? Iron sharpens iron. Right? When you're going up against the best and the best effort in practice every single day, you have no choice but to get better. I think if there were somebody that even finished in the 60s in hot dogs, Chestnut may have gone for 75. Nobody was even in the 50s. The next closest was mid-40, 46 and a half. It's hard to push yourself to the brink when you know you can coast to a championship, right? It's Usain Bolt in the Olympics celebrating and pounding his chest before he crosses the line. He may have set an unbelievable world record, but instead he wasn't pushed. Joey Chestnut, Usain Bolt, these are guys that are similar athletes. We need somebody to rise to the challenge, to challenge Chestnut. Somewhere out there, somebody in their garage just pounding like nachos and timing themselves eating donuts. And Chestnut, they're coming for you. If you had to pick one food, because the other thing that's funny about watching the hot dog eating contest is when they do the introductions, they're like, and here's Joe Schmo, the world record holder in, quarts of soup in 20 minutes. He wins the jalapeno poppers in 12 minutes.
Oh, gosh.
Like they announce all the world records that they hold. This person can drink a gallon of lemonade in 12.6 seconds. Like it's all that kind of stuff. If you had to, like life, the metaphorical, you have to win an eating contest to save humanity.
Save humanity?
It all rests on you against a random person. 10 minutes, one different item of food. What are you eating?
Oh, I might have to go double stuffed Oreos.
Double stuffed
Oreos. Like there's just my stomach's a bottomless pit when it comes to double stuffed Oreos.
There is a bit of like the saltine problem there, though. It might just get stuck with like.
Give me a glass of milk. I'm good.
Okay, milk as well. Yowzers! Are you a dunker?
No.
So it's eat, drink alternate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think I could do like I'm a big fan of French fries. I think I could do French fries.
There you go.
Just against a random person. Crinkle cut, a little crispy. By the way, that we have numbers game coming up next. That's 100% going to be our question.
Oh, yeah.
What food? Yeah, that's going to be a good one. All right, that's number 3. Let's hit number 2.
Just the two of us. Berhalter will hook that in, looking for Chris Richards. It's off the other side of the bar. The flag comes up. The goal is given on the field. It's Chris Richards from Sebastian Berhalter. Less than 4 minutes in.
The U.S. men's national team, we're talking soccer, lost to Mexico in the Gold Cup final. Now, would I tell you that I know who won the last Gold Cup? No, I don't. So I'm not going to make a huge deal about the U.S. losing the Gold Cup. Actually, I did hear Mexico's won $1 billion in a row, right? They're on some kind of streak. So obviously I'm showing my lack of knowledge in Gold Cup history. So I'm not going to bash the United States men's national team too much for losing the Gold Cup.
Yeah, Mexico won it in 2023. United States won it 2021.
Okay, never mind. They're not on a streak. But what I will say is this. You better not embarrass us in the World Cup. Okay? You better. There's one. It's such a pivotal, casual fan moment for soccer when the World Cup happens. If you embarrass us, this is not an exaggeration. And us, like we do anything, right? But hey, we rock with Team USA. If you embarrass us in the World Cup, especially because you're an auto qualifier because North America's hosting, I genuinely think you will set back the sport. Losing in the Gold Cup, listen, if you're a fan of the sport, you're a fan of the sport. I don't think winning the Gold Cup would have made a bunch of new fans. But World Cup's every 4 years, right? Every 4 years, you get a chance to quite literally expand your fan base in ways that aren't possible the rest of the calendar, the 3 years in between. 2010, when you advanced out of group play with the game-winning goal from Landon Donovan. I believe soccer took a leap there. Women's soccer in 1999, Mia Hamm, UNC legend, and that squad, when they won the World Cup, that vaulted women's soccer in this sport. You have that opportunity. With that being said, that just raises stakes, right? Because if you do poorly, you don't get any of that benefit. You don't create any new stars. If I don't even know the guys' names. If the guys that just lost the World Cup or the Gold Cup go out there and have a few star-making moments, those guys become the ambassadors for soccer in our country. Landon Donovan, Clint Dempsey. No offense to those guys. They didn't make themselves into names that I know long after their retirement during their time with whatever clubs they played for in Europe or with the Seattle Sounders. No, they became those guys in the World Cup. And by the way, the World Cup is what, like a year away? A little less? So Whatever made it so you lost to Mexico in the Gold Cup final, fix it in a year. You've got a year. Fix it. Figure it out. I don't know. Get together. Train. Call up Jason Sudeikis. Ask what would Ted Lasso do. I don't know what you have to do, but you've got a year. I'm not going to pretend to be an X's and O's scheme master for the soccer world, because I'm not. Very novice. Very casual. But I can tell you, if you go out there in group play and go 0-for and get 4-1, 4-1, 4-1 and go home, that's not going to be good for the future of soccer in our country. Everybody keeps telling me, most popular sport in the world. It's only a matter of time. It's going to take a magical run in the World Cup to make that true. That's number 2. Let's hit number 1.
Go on! Let's do that hockey.
Nikolaj Ehlers, Carolina Hurricane. How's it sound? Right? Try it on. Talk about it with your friends. Just say it out loud. Nikolaj Ehlers, Canes. Hey, in Carolina, Nikolaj Ehlers. Just say sentences because it's new and it's going to take some time to get used to. He's a different player, as Dennis pointed out earlier, from what we've expected from some Canes on the roster. Not saying different like he's not going to fit in, just different like he does bring a little bit of a different skill set, even though his production may be kind of duplicated elsewhere on the lineup. He is a winger, but I'm gonna emphasize this. We've said it on this show a bunch of times. The Canes do have a bit of a logjam as a middle six winger, right? They've got a lot of second and third line wingers. Ehlers slots in above those guys in most cases, right? He's going to be a top 6 guy for them, and where he slots into the top 6 probably comes down to fit more so than ability. First of all, let's hear about that fit a little bit here. Nikolaj Ehlers on how his skill set fits into the Carolina roster.
I think my speed, the stress game that Carolina plays in the sense when they don't have the puck, for example, trying to get the puck back as quick as possible. I think my speed, I'm able to do that. I think with my speed, I can create a lot of room for the other guys as well. And I believe that, I will fit in very nicely. And that's obviously something you look at as well when you try to make a decision. But, I talked to Rod and we had kind of the same vision about how things are going to go. And again, the talks that I've had with the people in the Canes organization is something that really excited me.
The speed element I do think is interesting. The speed element, the ability to carry it in the zone, I do think is interesting because it's, as much as you love the Jarvises, the Stankovens, there is an element of that missing in the lineup. And the first time you see there kind of be a foot race and he gets the corner or there's a gap closing, right? Like 2 garage doors closing horizontally and he's able to squeeze through it and make a play. That's going to be something else to make opposing teams worry. Right? Against the Canes, you have to worry about them possessing it in the offensive zone a bunch and facing a ton of shots. And you have to worry about back checking and two-way forwards. And you have to worry about sound defensemen. And you have to worry about that. Now you add in, and you have to be ready to turn on the gas and accelerate to keep up with Nikolaj Ehlers. It's right, the more you can do, the more your skill set can complement. Dennis, I'm going to put you on the spot here, right, which I always like to do, especially on the hockey stuff. Who are you skating him with?
Aho and Jarvis.
Aho, Jarvis, Ehlers, first line, no doubt.
Easily.
Second line, Kotkaniemi, Svech.
Kotkaniemi. How many times have we seen that over the last few years? But Svechnikov on the quote-unquote second line. My guess is that you could put him on his right side and then Taylor Hall as the winger on the left side. Then you have Stahl, Martinuk with Logan Stankoven.
Perfect.
And then that air quotes fourth line is probably going to be Jankowski, Eric Robinson, and Jackson Blake.
Doesn't it feel like there's even just the way we rattled that off? Doesn't it just feel like there's one giant Vegas neon sign pointing at second line center going, You've taken care of everything else. It's all right there. The blue line with the addition of Miller, which we've talked a bit about today, I would just say the pairings are a little bit confusing because there's 4 left-handed defensemen and 2 right-handed defensemen, I believe, in your top 6 forward, or top 6 defensemen. So you'll have to figure that out. But to me, that's the to-do list. The to-do list is second-line center and how would you like to play the 6th defenseman, and if there is another move to shuffle some left-hand value to the right side, you can figure that out. But that's really all that's there. That's a really nice spot to be, right? When you go into an offseason and you have multiple questions, but you have $28 million in cap space, you have a couple of young guys that you'd like to sign long-term, you get one of those done. The Nikishin one's still hovering, but that was always going to be tough. I just think the way his career started, the agents, that one's going to be a more difficult long-term extension than Stankoven. But you got the winger you were looking for. You got at least 6, I would say, super obvious, talented defensemen. Now you just need that second-line center, man.
Yeah. Ain't going to happen overnight, though.
Got $10.5 million in cap space, and a GM that can obviously be patient or aggressive. Gosh, I want to be a fly on the wall of that negotiating room. I just want to see Tulski operate.
The ask for a center that can be a top 2 line guy, like a top 6 center, the asking price is going to be astronomical, as it should be. I'm not going to give one of those away for nothing.
Again, I know nobody cares about fantasy teams, but it's the only place I get to do negotiations like this as a dynasty long-term fantasy team. The thing I send back anytime someone approaches me about one of my guys that I really like is, you're not going to like how much it's going to cost you. And that just sets the tone, right? Because then if they still pursue, I go, all right, here we go. But don't say I didn't warn you. To me, every time anyone reaches out about a center in the NHL this year who is like bona fide top 2, like bona fide top 2 line center, the response you're going to get is, you're not going to like how much it would cost you. And for the most part, it's smart negotiation when someone tells you that, to go, fine, I'll back away. Because if somebody's going into that, it's like you're setting the table for me to overpay. Unless you think you're one second-line center away, then you overpay, and you can't overpay. That's actually the way you look at it. I say this about quarterbacks in the NFL. If it hits and you get a 15-year starter Hall of Famer who wins you multiple Super Bowls, no one's going to be like, geez, you gave up the extra first-rounder. If it doesn't hit and he's out of the league in 3 years, no one's going to go, well, it would have been okay if you didn't give up that extra first. Like, you can't really overpay for a quarterback. It's either you picked the wrong quarterback or you didn't. If the Canes think they're a second-line center away and, like, they're going to win the cup with a second-line center, give all the tea in China, right? Give everything you got and kind of like what you brought up with Matthew Tkachuk.
Yeah.
The Florida Panthers, tip your cap to them, gave up the world seemingly at the time for Matthew Tkachuk. Well, they've got some hardware, some dishware, if you will, some cups in order, to justify that. No one's going to look back at that and say it was an overpay. It's kind of the difference. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That's a starting 5. Now it's time for the numbers game. We need some numbers game contestants. Let me bring up the prize here, see what you're all competing for. A 4-pack of tickets to Monster Jam at the Lenovo Center on July 26th and 27th with awesome trucks, amazing stunts, action-packed excitement, and big air. Monster Jam is the definition of fun for everyone. 4-pack of tickets will go to the winner of the numbers game. My 4-year-old son, oh boy, would he be all about going to the Monster Jam. If you want to make your kid's day, then you could do it by winning the numbers game. Call in now. We need 2 contestants. 919-860-5326. Call in now. The winner of the numbers game gets the Monster Jam tickets. 919-860-5326. While you call in, Dennis has something he'd like to tell you.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Loan Pronto. Folks, you maxed out on credit cards, maybe struggling with that high-interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Get cash out now without touching your low rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan Program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a massive turnaround. Listen, your home equity, it's yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easily low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Get debt relief now. Again, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. As we mentioned, numbers game. Coming up next, call in now, 919-860-5326. Next.
Move your sports day forward.
In the often forgettable churn of sports news, it's a good thing Will Wade is stoking the rivalry fire between State and Carolina. In this fresh age of player transfers and payments, the only way to provide spark these days has to be through the coaches. The one-and-done kids can't hint at rivalry. Wade's delivering in an area for me way ahead of schedule.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Are you in charge of running the building maintenance plays at your workplace? If you're facing roofing issues, you gotta get RoofWorks into the game. Hi, this is Holly with RoofWorks. You can count on us to be your MVP when it comes to taking care of your commercial building roof. We handle leaky roof repair, coatings, total replacements, upfits, and we even do commercial gutters. Let us show you what a valuable addition we are to your building maintenance team. Contact us today online at roofworks.com. That's roof, WERKS.com.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. The prize, Monster Jam tickets, coming up later this month at the Lenovo Center. The contestants, Ryan in Bunn and Isaiah in Wake Forest. And if you were paying attention earlier today, you already know what the question is going to be. We'll ask them both the same question. Dennis will pick his favorite of the two contestants' answers. That person will get to go first. First, we'll ask Ryan in Bunn. Ryan, are you there?
Yes, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. In honor of Joey Chestnut winning the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest on the 4th, I'm going to put you in a hypothetical scenario. The future of humanity rests on you winning a 10-minute eating competition. You're going to have 10 minutes against a randomly selected other individual to eat the most possible of a food item, of any food you want, really. What is your choice? You get to pick the competition. You have 10 minutes to eat the most of blank to save humanity. Which one are you picking?
Donut.
Donut. Any particulars? Is it glazed? Is there toppings?
Yeah, just original glazed donuts.
All right. I like your confidence. My faith in humanity being saved is high in Ryan right now. There was very little doubt. All right, Ryan, stay on hold. We'll see if your answer gets chosen. Isaiah in Wake Forest, you are up next. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, same question to you. The future of humanity rests on you winning an eating competition. You have 10 minutes against a randomly selected other individual to eat the most of any food item, any food you want. What are you choosing?
Well, my first choice would easy be McDonald's French fries, but since you said that, I want to steal it. So my second choice would be Chewy Chips Ahoy.
Chewy Chips Ahoy. All right. That could be another one that you end up just getting stuck halfway through with a mouthful of Chewy Chips Ahoy. Dennis, which one are you rolling with? Ryan went with donuts. Isaiah with Chewy Chips Ahoy.
I don't like Chewy Chips Ahoy, so I'm going to go with the glazed donuts here on this one. Going to go with Ryan. Going to go with the glazed donuts. If you said regular Chips Ahoy, that would have won it for you, Isaiah, at least for this portion of it. But nope, going to go with glazed donuts here. Don't like the Chewy Chips Ahoy.
Your preference is just you're a more crispy cookie guy?
Yeah, it's still for the store-bought, yeah, absolutely.
Homemade is different?
Homemade's a little different. Homemade's a completely different situation.
All right. One day we'll dive into that. Right now we'll dive into the numbers game. That means Ryan and Bunn gets to go first. Isaiah, don't worry, you'll have your chance. Just sit on hold for a minute. Ryan, are you ready to pick a category?
Yes, sir.
All right. We have, as categories, NFL players born in Washington State, NFL players made in Canada, all players born in Canada, NBA players, Triangle area draft picks since 2010. So players that went to college in the Triangle area and have been drafted since 2010, or NHL Hurricanes only.
Let's do NBA players drafted.
Okay. And these are all, you said NBA players drafted, correct? I heard that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, NBA players drafted.
All right, these are all players drafted from a Triangle area college since 2010. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. And just so you know, we are looking for the jersey number of the NBA team, I say. We are not looking for their jersey number for the Triangle area college they played for. Any questions before we get started?
Nope, that's it.
All right, your time will start when you hear the horn. Harrison Barnes, San Antonio Spurs.
40.
Say it again.
40.
Correct. Derek Lively, Dallas Mavericks.
31.
Incorrect. Jared McCain, Philadelphia 76ers.
Pass.
Cam Johnson, Brooklyn Nets.
24.
Incorrect. Derek Lively, Dallas Mavericks. Say it again.
Number 2.
It was after the buzzer. You may have gotten connection there. Like you were real muffly. But you did get Harrison Barnes with 40, which is not an easy pull for the San Antonio Spurs, excuse me. Derek Lively, you did get it with 2, but it was after the buzzer with the Mavericks. Ironically, Cam Johnson, which was another option we had for you, also number 2. And sandwiched between them, Jared McCain with the Sixers, number 20. But you did get 1. You avoided the shutout. We'll see if it's enough to hold out for the win. Stay on the line, and we'll see. That brings us to Isaiah in Wake Forest. Isaiah, are you there?
I am.
All right. The categories remaining for you to choose from are NFL players born in Washington State, NFL players born in Canada, or NHL Hurricanes only.
I'll do NFL Washington State.
Okay. I'll give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. Any questions before we get started?
No, sir.
All right. You need at least 2 for the win, and your time will start when you hear the horn. Jonathan Stewart, Carolina Panthers.
26.
Incorrect. Cooper Kupp, Los Angeles Rams.
10.
Correct. Alex Smith, Washington Redskins.
9.
Incorrect. Jonathan Stewart, Carolina Panthers.
28.
Correct. Brian Urlacher, Chicago Bears.
Pass.
Carl Mecklenburg, Denver Broncos.
34.
Incorrect. Alex Smith, Washington Redskins.
7.
Incorrect. Brian Urlacher, Chicago Bears.
27.
Incorrect. Carl Mecklenburg, Denver Broncos. You got enough for the win. I can't say it was the prettiest, but a win is a win is a win, and they can't take it away from you. You got Stewart with 28. You got Cooper Kupp with 10. Alex Smith with Washington wore number 11. Urlacher with the Bears,
I don't remember him.
54. And Mecklenburg, that would have been a good pull. Number 77 is what we were looking for from Mecklenburg. But 2 is all you needed for the win, and 2 is what you got. So congratulations. You're getting 4 Monster Jam tickets.
Perfect. Thank you.
You are very welcome. Stay on the line, and Dennis will grab some info to make sure you get your prize. You want a fun fact about Cooper Kupp in Washington, which is he was born in, I don't even know how to pronounce this, Yakima. He, in high school, played against Zach LaVine in, I believe, the state playoffs. Zach LaVine was, on his way to being one of the top recruits, went to UCLA, ended up drafting high. He'd been an all-star. He made hundreds of millions of dollars. Zach LaVine, the dunk contest guy, for those of you that are super casual fans, that beat Aaron Gordon. And Cooper Kupp beat Zach LaVine. Cooper Kupp's team beat Zach LaVine's team. And Cooper Kupp's team, I guess, won the state title and did so with, good team play. I don't know. To hear them both talk about it individually is kind of interesting because, Zach LaVine didn't necessarily remember specifically Cooper Kupp. He just remembered the game. Cooper Kupp remembered Zach LaVine and that he guarded him, and I think he said he held him to 14 points or something. But the fact that 2 guys were in one high school game, the football player, the future NFL star beat the future NBA star. I do think Cooper Kupp was a year or 2 older, but still, crossing paths out there in Washington. Kevin Love's in the news, just got traded. Washington. Probably around, definitely earlier than those two guys, but still. How about it? What else was I thinking there? Mecklenburg would have been a tough pull.
That's not an easy one. I didn't realize that Jonathan Stewart was from Washington State.
I knew he went to Oregon, so Pacific Northwest kind of makes sense.
Makes sense.
He's definitely all Carolina now. He joined the show when we were outside Canes postseason game out there on the plaza. But he's in Charlotte. He's doing his thing. He's playing a ton of golf. I followed him on social media. The dude is a golf fanatic right now, which I can appreciate, right? You retire with NFL money. You got a few side hustles going on, and you play a ton of golf. Sounds pretty good for old J. Stu. Number 28, obviously, with the Panthers.
All at the age of 40.
Yeah, I don't even know if he's there yet.
Yeah, it might not be.
I don't even know if he's there yet. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We will have those Monster Jam tickets at the Lenovo Center July 26th, 27th, all week for the numbers game. So if you are in the market making if your 4-year-old's anything like my 4-year-old, making a 4-year-old's day, you want to win the numbers game. That's all you got to do.
Monster Jam's a fun time.
I've never been.
You never been to a Monster Jam before?
No.
Oh my gosh, it's a blast. It's big trucks going off big jumps, crushing cars. It's a great time.
My mom, I was at the beach last week. My mom got my son, my nephew, and my niece little monster trucks. Brought them to the beach. They were making ramps. They were doing all that kind of. The sand was becoming their own Monster Jam. So maybe we'll have to look into going. Who knows what we're doing later this month? It's July 26th and 27th. But they have all the toys and all that kind of stuff. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, if your kid is going to be playing with monster trucks in the living room, you don't want it to be 1,000,000,000 degrees. If your AC breaks, you're trying to get some indoor play time because you don't want to be outside in the 1,000,000-degree heat, call Manor Service Company. Heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, they do it all, and they understand that sort of stuff, right? Manor Service Company, yes, they cover the entire triangle. Yes, 24/7. So obviously they have a bunch of technicians, but it's really run like a family business, right? They want to be a part of your community. They're have their hands in so many different philanthropic avenues all across the triangle. They want to be a part of your community. They want you to see their trucks out and about. They want you to call when something breaks and trust them to get you back, get your family back to their normal life, right? Because we've all been there. Right, you have a house without air conditioning. It's 100 degrees outside. It feels like it's 200 degrees inside. It's humid, or it's not a fun place to be. So Manor Service Company takes pride in understanding that your family wants to get back to family life. And like I said, they're available all across the triangle 24/7. It's the best thing possible, right? 24/7, can't get better. So bookmark the number 919-361-0993. That's 919-361-0993, or visit them online at ManorServices.com. MAYNOR services.com. That's ManorServices.com. We have our question of the day for the Carolina Panthers heading towards training camp. It's coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and I know the hurricane season came to an end. Another year with a loss to Florida in the Eastern Conference Finals, 2 of the last 3. But it's been a great year, and it's going to be a great summer with all that cap room the Hurricanes have. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, from free agency to trades to the draft. We'll have player interviews, special sit-down with Rod Brindamore that he doesn't even know about yet. He'll do it, don't worry. Just stay tuned to the Canes Corner podcast on YouTube. Search Canes Corner and wherever you get your podcast.
Bank of America is the nation's leading business lender, and we're ready to help with your next goal here in the Triangle. That's why we have over 3,700 local business specialists across the country. Because with the right team, your business and community prosper. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED, because millions of men experience it. But not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Hims can help. Through HIMS.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to HIMS.com/joy. HIMS.com/JOY.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, and it's no surprise. Same game parlay from Bet365 just keeps getting better.
Well, it's even easier to make a bet. Choose from the most popular markets like hits, run line, totals, and home runs. So many to choose from.
Download the app, start building your bet, and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in North Carolina. T&Cs apply.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I have to admit, again, I'm out of practice. I didn't do the math. It's something like 20 days until training camp starts for the Carolina
Oh, it's less
Panthers.
than that.
Something like high teens, mid-teens, until training camp begins.
16 days.
16 days?
Yes, the 23rd, I believe, is their first practice. That's 2 weeks from this Wednesday.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
We pledged before I left every show that I do at least. We're going to ask one question about the Carolina Panthers all the way up until training camp, and we will make good on that.
We try, but then we had all the Canes breaking news and all that kind of stuff. So, things got a little like, all right, you know what? Panthers, you're going to sit back and wait. Nikolaj
do
Ehlers
something
just got
first.
signed.
Do something to make us talk about you. So I'll ask you this. What does Chuba Hubbard need to do to justify the contract? Because I'll be the first to say it. I didn't love the contract when it was signed. Okay, didn't love that they gave a running back that much money. And the question immediately becomes, what does he have to do to make me wrong? Right? Because I want to be wrong in the situation. I like Chuba. I think he's a great person. It's at least by all accounts of what we've been told, it seems like he's very much captures the Dan Morgan dog that they're looking for, and Dave Canales wants him to be a culture setter, and he's overcome the adversity of being a late round pick and at times kind of lost in the shuffle. So I want him to live up to the contract. I think it's difficult for running backs to live up to the contract, right? When you see late round rookies like Tyrone Tracy or late round rookies, mid round rookies like who was up there with the Bucks that I'm blanking on right now. Goodness gracious.
Bucky Irving?
He took Rashad White's job. When you see these guys, Isaiah Pacheco is a 7th rounder, when you see those guys just come straight into the NFL and perform well, it's hard to justify giving someone like Chuba big money unless he is truly one of the aliens, right? Unless, he enters into a tier of running back that is truly a difference maker. And you know those names. I don't have to list them, but they include guys like Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry and Jahmyr Gibbs, that group. So what does Chuba Hubbard have to do to validate his contract extension? Now, I'm going to try to answer this without just putting statistical thresholds. Right? I'm going to try to, without just going 1,200 yards and 12 touchdowns, we'll do it. I'm going to try not to do that because, quite frankly, a lot of that has to do with situation, right? If you're behind in every game at the end of the first quarter, like it felt like they were at times last year before they turned things around about midseason, then it's going to be tough for a running back to be in raw counting statistics near the top because you're always playing from behind and you got to sling it. So I thought of it in this way. ESPN put out today, ironically, the top 10 running backs. They polled front office executives, coaches, and scouts anonymously to rank the top 10 at every position, and they're revealing them one a day. And the first list they revealed was running back. I believe tomorrow is defensive tackles. So they revealed the running back list today. Chuba Hubbard is not in the top 10. He is not in the honorable mention category. But he slides into that also receiving votes category, right? There's there's kind of tiers to this thing. And if you put them in order, you get the top 10. I believe there were 5 honorable mentions, and then 3 also receiving votes ahead of him. He came in as the 19th best running back if you take it all by order. Kind of like we do with the the weekly polls in college basketball, where it's like you're not in the top 25, but you're the 4th team also receiving votes, thus 29th team. Like if you count like that, he is the 19th best running back according to the executives, coaches, and scouts ranked. The 5 running backs ahead of him, Breece Hall, not in the top 10, which would have been mind-blowing at this time last year. James Conner, Kyron Williams, David Montgomery, Brian Robinson Jr. Now, if I were Chuba Hubbard, I'd be insulted by like a Brian Robinson Jr. being over you. But hey, I'm not here to litigate the list, at least not right now. I'm just presenting facts. In order for him to validate his contract extension, I think he needs to be a top 15 running back this year. I think he doesn't have to be top 10. I'm not going to go crazy because obviously part of that comes with name recognition and it comes with role and it comes with so many other things. If he's top 15, I will look at it and say you got good value this season on that contract from Chuba Hubbard.
So are we talking about just strictly rushing yards? Is that what we're looking at?
No,
we're looking at total yards? Like how are we defining top 15? I'm just curious.
Similar. Like I think it's like not the eye test just like us watching, but if basically at this time next year, if they poll executives, coaches, and scouts, I want him at least from the people whose pure job is to evaluate how good football players are when you're looking at the encapsulation of his entire being of a football player, I want him top 15. Obviously, barring injury, right? You can't, if he's on pace to be top 15 and he gets hurt week 8, I'm not going to hold that against him, right? Because injuries happen, and I don't blame guys for injuries. Part of the reason why I don't like paying running backs is because they do get injured more often. But that's a whole other can of worms. Mm-hmm. Top 15 in like overall value, right? I'm trying not to just go, hey, 1,200 yards and 12 touchdowns. If that happens, good. I'm talking about, do you feel super confident with a lead and the ball with 4 minutes left in the game where you're turning it over to the offensive line and Chuba Hubbard? I'm talking about, 3rd and 2. Are you planning to run another play on 4th down, or are you already thinking, what are we going to do after this first down? Like that's what I want to know. Do you throw it to him more often out of the backfield? Something that I think's been underwhelming. Is Rico Dowdle good enough that it becomes a true darn near 50-50 workload split? Because that doesn't make sense because you're paying Chuba a decent amount more than Rico Dowdle. So if you're getting the same level of play, that becomes an issue with him living up to his contract. Like, I need him to be a workhorse. I need him to be a complete back, and I need him to be one of the top 15 in the league. And I think that's fair, right? I'm not asking him to be, I don't want it to go like, well, Saquon, Derrick Henry, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan, and Chuba. Like I'm not asking him to be the one of these things is not like the other. But you did pay him like a guy. I think he's the 17th highest in cap hit this year.
Okay.
So for it to be a good contract, you have to be better than you're getting paid. If you're 2 slots better than that, I think that's fair, right? Top 15 or better for Chuba Hubbard.
So Chuba Hubbard this past season in yards per game.
Mm-hmm.
7th best in the NFL last year.
Pretty good.
And yards per attempt, tied for 8th best with Bijan Robinson.
Talking rushing.
Talking about just pure rushing numbers. Because he didn't play the last couple games of the year. Just, you're kind of out of it. A little bit of a quad injury. Just kind of, let's save your legs here a little bit. But he was also 13th in the NFL in total touchdowns rushing as well. So, like, if he just basically is falling in that same category, then it feels justified. In that same range, because we're talking literally like 8, 9, 10, 11 is where he fits in a lot statistically from this past year. Aside from the fact that if you look at those guys above him, like the Breece Halls, they do bring more in the passing game. Sure, 100%.
So if he's the whatever that ended up being, like the 12th, the 10th best rusher, I think in addition to that, he's going to have to bring a little bit in the passing game more so than he did at least this year. I know he's had some years where he's been better, but like I would put Alvin Kamara above him as far as quality of play. Like right now, Kamara's never had a 1,000-yard rushing season, but he's had a couple like 900 seasons. Like that's going to be better than just pure, or 900, 800 or whatever they ended up being. That's going to be better than just pure rushing stats. So that's why I'm talking like pure encapsulation. And even like David Montgomery, someone that's on his level. David Montgomery's really good in short yardage situations. And he actually splits that with Jahmyr Gibbs because Jahmyr Gibbs is so good. But Montgomery he's scoring touchdowns a lot, right? And like you have to keep that up. You have to bring a complete game. So Chuba does. And by the way, like last year was very good. Last year, he was a great value on his contract because he was on the last year of a 4th-round deal. Like, yeah, sign me up for more of that value. But with great money comes great responsibility. He's making a lot more kind of moving forward, so he's going to have to play even better than he would last year to be a great value. So, it's kind of wishy-washy or abstract, but, if ESPN runs the same poll, and I believe they do that every year, it's like, perfect July talking points when there's not a ton going on. They poll and they put out these top 10 lists. If he's in at least the honorable mention category next year, it would be awesome if he sneaks into the bottom of the top 10. If he's 9th or 10th would be fantastic. But if he's at least honorable mention, I'll say, all right, for this year, I'm eating crow. I didn't like him giving the contract, but it worked out. And by the way, if that's true, I think the team's playing well. I think that's good for Bryce. I think that means they were playing from ahead at times, which is not something they've done often. Even the games they won last year, they were, kicking last-second field goals or winning in overtime and, like, all of that. Like, it would mean it could be like the canary in the mine if he plays that well, that means the team is playing that well. So, a lot goes into it. I'm putting Chuba Hubbard. To validate his contract extension, he has to be one of the 15 best running backs in the league.
I think it helps for him. Obviously, we talked about how much it helps Bryce and just the offense as a whole. But I remember asking him this at minicamp last month about him actually having the same like head coach and coordinator on offense from one year to the next for the first time in his career. And he's like, yeah, it's kind of refreshing, for lack of a better term, to kind of paraphrase what he said. But you can kind of tell even for him, it's like, okay, I don't have to study a new offense. All 5 of my starting offensive linemen are back. I mean, that should only help accelerate these guys.
I would put significantly more of that impact positively on him as a passing asset, both in pass protection and pass catching. I do think, and I think this is why some rookies are able to be so good right out the gate. I think a lot of ball carrying, like handoff, is just it's just instinct, it's vision, it's what do you do when somebody flashes in front of your eyes. It's maybe in football the most either you're born with it or you're not thing is like running back vision between the tackles. I remember watching film with running backs in college and the coach going like, you have to see this hole, and I'm going, you're circling it with a laser, and I still don't see it. And then he hits play, and like it opens for a split second and closes. And it's just, we had an All-American. He saw it, he did it, and I went, I'm glad he's the one running it and not me. And Chuba Hubbard, I do think, has that between the tackles. I think, he doesn't need a lot of on-ramp as far as like, just learn what the play is called. And then you give him the ball, and he'll read it up nicely. In the pass game, I do think there are different schemes and different terminologies and everything you got to get used to. So that's probably where I would expect that boost to happen. And if it does, fantastic. And I'm not asking for 800 yards receiving. Give me 380 and 3 touchdowns, and that vaults him up a level as far as like tiers of running backs in the NFL on more efficiency, because he had like 40 catches on, 4 yards per catch or something like that.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot.
He averaged almost a yard more per carry than per catch. That can't happen. Needs to be a bit more explosive in the pass game, which could come with time in the offense. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Don't forget, even while we're not on air, this is not a just when we're on air promotion. For the next, whatever it ends up being, 22 hours, you can enter to win your weight and meat starting today. Text BEEF, B-E-E-F, to 919-860-5326 for your shot at becoming one of our 10 finalists. Then listen to the show tomorrow at 4. We will call one lucky texter, someone that sends in that keyword, live on air. All they'll have to do is tell us their weight, and they are in the running. One of 10 finalists who will be randomly selected, one winner, on Monday, July 21st, to win their weight and meat. All brought to you by NC Beef Council. Beef, it's what's for dinner. You can send that text in right now, or anytime before 4 o'clock tomorrow, and you'll be in the running. Thank you to Dennis for keeping us up and running. We'll be back tomorrow at 3 for more of The Drive. Until then, have a great night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
I don't know how many times the Steelers have to take the same approach and get the same result before they do something different. Treating quarterback as if it's fungible, as if those players are interchangeable, as if it's an afterthought when it comes to finding ways to contend, just seems like delusion in 2025.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Hey, Greater Triangle area, Chick-fil-A wants to invite you to enjoy 3-count Chick-fil-A chicken strips on us in the Chick-fil-A app. Join us this week, July 7th through 12th, 2025, to get your reward for a 3-count Chick-fil-A chicken strips by downloading or signing into your Chick-fil-A app. With location services on in the Greater